All right, let's do a quick sound check here. Okay, sounds good. Right. Well, get ready. Get God. Welcome to another exciting episode of And Why Not, the most intelligent white noise here on YouTube, where if you're doing chores around the house or need something to listen to while you are at work, or if you're getting involved or like to get involved rather, and possibly into any of the discussions on this topic that we're talking about today or in the future, well, this is the place to come to. In this live stream, I take full advantage of my First Amendment right, my freedom of thought and speech, so long as if I do not violate the extremely silly guidelines of this current platform. This is episode number 105. And before we get things started, real quick, just do a little bit of house cleaning, okay? In case any of you guys are interested in knowing about my whereabouts, should something happen to this channel as the previous channel was deleted, you can go to my Rumble account or you can go to my Odyssey account. Okay, and the links to both of those are in the description below. Okay, so you can check those out for yourself. And as far as the 12 cartoon is concerned, let me get that on the screen now. As far as the 12 series, again, I can't express it enough. In fact, I'll probably be uploading tonight another brief random shot of a particular scene in the episode, just to let you guys know that I'm constantly working on it. As far as when it'll be released, again, as I've said 1,000 times already, I cannot give you a specific date on when it will be released. All I can assure you is that I'm working on it as much as possible. Definitely got to take a little bit of break, and again, really the only thing that's kind of slowing me down is the concept and the reality of time. That's it, really. People can offer me money all they want. It's really not going to change anything unless I get enough money to actually quit my job so I can work on this cartoon 8 hours a day instead of only 3 hours, sporadically. So that's really what's going to help me out. If anybody really wants this episode to get done in a timely fashion, I'm going to have to quit my job, my current job. So that's just the way it is, folks. But got to make money, got to eat. Got to put bread on the table. Got to take care of the little one, and it's okay to have a little bit of extra cash on the side to splurge a little bit, buy some shirts and, some other stuff. And speaking of shirts, just in case any of you guys are interested, we got some paraphernalia. Yes, we have t-shirts, socks, neck gaiters, all them kind of things. Put it around your neck to keep you nice and warm during the winter time. That's right. All to promote the 12 series. Okay. Now again, it's up to you if you want to do that. Not saying that you got to. Just want to throw it out there just in case you guys might be interested. No sweat. But anyway, I'm probably going to open up the chat real soon. But as you can see in the title here, we're going to be talking about this commercial or this ad, whatever, that was allegedly displayed during the Super Bowl. I didn't watch the Super Bowl at all, but the very next day, though, or today, actually, I started hearing about this alleged woke commercial where people were washing, just images of white people washing the feet of different people. Okay, well, the majority of them. There are some images of black people washing somebody's feet and stuff like that. But we're gonna look at this ad. I hope I don't get dinged for it, for copyright issues and stuff like that. But what I'll do first, before we look at the video, I'm going to give a couple of shout outs first on the side chat. Then I'm going to post the link publicly so you guys can come in. And then once I pin the link to the side chat, then I'll get started with looking at the video and doing a review. And then you guys could come in anytime afterwards or during the time I do my review. I don't really plan on staying up all night doing this. I don't know. We'll see. This is kind of a spur of the moment. Again, hence the name, and why not, right? Because that's the nature of these type of live streams, right? That's what we do. So anyway, real quick, let's do a couple of shout outs here. He said Biden won the Super Bowl. What's going on, Jill? AKA Rebuke and Reprove. Good to see you. Illuminati, what's happening, baby? So, yep, said that the other Jesus they're talking about in that ad. Yep, yeah, we'll be definitely talking about that. I'm not what I'm not. What's going on? It's a bit too much trouble or gain. Are you talking about my mic or the music? I don't know. Since I clicked the time tag you mentioned in my comment, it'll premiere soon. Okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Wait a minute. Oh, okay, now I remember. I'm getting videos mixed up. Yes, you made a really, really great comment about repentance and about being sorrowful for your sins and stuff like that. Yeah, really, really good stuff. Let's see. So time is time. He said, I don't wash my own feet. Why should I wash someone else's? Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm not says it's good. Okay, and he's talking about the mic. Okay, great. 7 minutes from now. Okay, great. Yeah, check out I'm Not What I'm Not channel in case you guys are interested. One thing I'll say, there are very little channels that I would promote. Certain channels that I would promote, I think are very useful. Me personally. 2 channels that I could promote today, right? I've already promoted Jill's channel. Jill, I love your channel, man. But you haven't been doing anything lately, so actually, no, that's not true. You posted some videos of you getting into discussions with. But I'm talking about where it's just like a podcast format type of thing. You haven't been doing that kind of thing lately. But lately, we've gotten Ryan the Presbyterian. And I'm not what I'm not. Now, both of these guys I've known for a little bit. Well, I've known Ryan for quite a few years, and I'm not what I'm not. I've just kind of recently known him for several months. But I just recently subscribed to his channel, and we might have some disagreements here and there on certain non-essential theological areas. But one thing I really like about I'm Not's channel is the way he speaks. His cadence is just so easy for me to follow. And I say the same thing about Ryan. You have both of these guys are very, very well-spoken individuals, and I want that. I want to be able to be that. I want to be able to speak that well as both of these guys do. And that's why I love listening to these guys. Whatever they're talking about, I can listen to it. I can follow them because, they just have that cadence in the way they speak, and it's just easy for me to follow. And I guess, I don't want to speak for everybody. Just, everybody has a specific type of person that they're attracted to, that they like to listen to, and maybe the opposite. But these individuals in particular, Ryan, the Presbyterian, and I'm not what I'm not. I like listening to both of these guys speak. It's just because of the way they, their cadence, the tempo, and the way they speak. There's hardly any, stuttering or ums and ahs, like what I do sometimes. And I hate when I do that. But anyway, but it's YouTube. So you could pretty much do whatever you want here. So this is not a professional broadcast. I'm not getting paid for it, obviously. So, and the same is with a lot of other people here who are just regular YouTubers, except for those who have their channels monetized and stuff like that. So, but anyway, so I do, recommend checking out I'm Not's channel. Again, depending on what theological background you have, you might have some slight disagreements with them, but I would recommend this channel. And like I said, with anything, whether you agree with them or not, chew up the meat and spit out the bones. I think that's the way the world is right now. You're not going to agree with 100% everything everyone is saying, but as long as they're straight and they're sound on the essentials, from there you could practice your Romans 14 rights. And whether or not you choose to fellowship or worship with such a particular or individual. So but I do recommend this channel. And same thing with Ryan Presbyterian. Check out both of these guys' channels. And I love me some Jill. Jill, need I say more? I mean, I wish we could do more stuff together. But anyway, so let me do this. Oh, hey, Cheryl's in the house. What's going on, Cheryl? How you doing? It's good to see you. All right. So let me just do this. Let me get this off the screen. Now, why am I doing this video here today? Because, well, you know what? Let me do this. Let me get the video ready, and then I'm going to post the link. I think that this is just... hold on a second. It's playing in the background. Okay. I think what we're seeing here is, well, this is nothing new, really. I mean, you have a lot of this woke garbage that's been creeping in the church for well over a decade. And obviously it's been prophesied by the scriptures too, that you're going to have people who claiming to be of Christ and claiming to be Christ, and there'll be false teachers and false prophets among you. And we've been seeing this for several years now. People coming in, claiming to be Christian, but yet they're promoting things like same-sex marriage and even abortion and some other extremely left-wing policies and ideals, and trying to creep them into the church amongst the brethren. And now we see this ad, as you're going to see here, from this, I think it's originally on this YouTube channel called He Got Us, or He Gets Us. I think that's what it's called. I'm kind of skeptical to share the link because I don't want people's mind, but then again, I haven't really researched the entire channel either, so I'm not going to sit here and say that their channel is heretical. But I do have some criticism about this video that we are going to look at, and what I'll do is right now I'll post the link. I'll put it on the side chat here. And if you guys are bored out of your mind, and you also have, or if you have the same passion as I do to talk about this issue, you're more than welcome to come in, and we can chime on it. And then after that, we'll probably at some point, whether it's before or whatever, because sometimes people come in and we talk about different, topics change and stuff like that. But I definitely want to focus on the feet washing that Jesus performed amongst the disciples in John chapter 13. So we definitely want to do a little brief exegetical examination of that passage before we end the stream at some point. So whether we, talk about it immediately after you review this video or, whatever. And we're going to cover it in some way, shape, or form. And I would like for you guys who choose to stick around for the duration of this live stream to hold me accountable. So if you hear me say, all right, guys, we're going to probably wrap it up. I don't care how dog tired I am. You guys, I want you guys to hold me accountable. Say, wait, Veko, I know you've been streaming for 8 hours, but you never got on to John 13 yet. So you guys just hold me accountable and say, oh, don't leave yet. We gotta get to the exegetical study on John 13 about the feet washing and stuff. We're gonna look at that passage. So I might be tired, I might be dog tired, and I'll just say, you know what, you're right. I'm a man of my word. I gotta do it. Oh, there's Josh. Josh, Musics, what's going on? Let me get this off the screen. Okay, can you ask if Veko? Oh, yeah, I can see you, Josh. I can see you. Okay, I don't know why I couldn't see you in other people's rooms before, and I don't think I've ever blocked you. So, but anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the video set up. Then I'll remove this ban. Okay. I'll post the link in the side chat so you guys will turn the music down, the background music. And you guys know what to do. Hook up a brother if you can't hear nothing. Right. Here we go. And away we go.
Don't ask me what you know is true.
Okay, I want to make sure that I don't get copyright, hit, because YouTube is fickle like that. So I got to pause the music a little bit. There's no dialogue anyway, so I could just talk over the music anyway. So can you guys hear me as I turn down the audio on the video? And there's really nothing much. There's no video. There's no animations. Just slowly zooming in on the picture, on these images that look like they were AI. Jesus didn't teach hate. He washed feet. He gets us, all of us. Jesus. He gets us.com. Love your neighbor. Okay. All right. So you guys can hear me. Okay, good. Is it yeah, make sure you interrupt before 30 seconds in case. Yeah. Yep, you're absolutely right. Yeah. We'll play the video again. This time we'll turn the volume down so you heard the music. They're playing that song, I think, from In Excess. And never tear us apart. I think it's from In Excess. Anyway, let's get some background music while we play this too. All right. Well, as you can see, let's see. Let's do this. Let's rewind it back forth. Okay, now, as you can see in the hold on, let me get some background music. Get my background check. Okay, hopefully you guys can still hear me. You can hear the background music a little bit. Okay, let me make sure that Okay, great. So there's the link on the side chat in case any of you guys are bored out of your mind and want to come in and join in. So here we see the first image is a, family. Looks pretty normal. Young person washing the feet of the elderly man. Looks like, he's probably the son of this man. Now, I'm just taking a wild guess, but based off of the way this guy looks, the kid with the yellow shirt, probably some Gen Xer who's been involved in some sort of, ungodly or, maybe punk rock stuff. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe he's not even ungodly. He's just something that's the outside of the family approval. And you could, a story can tell a million words. So we're here, you could probably say, yeah, they probably had several arguments. The father, shows his disapproval of his son's lifestyle. We don't really know what his son's lifestyle is based off of just a picture alone, but we can tell that there was some sort of, probably some previous arguments between the two. And the son is showing a display of humility by washing his father's feet. Okay. So that's a good thing, right? We see that practiced by Jesus in John 13 when he did that to the disciples. We're going to look at that too. Okay. All right. So that's good. Let's go to the next video. All right. So the video is playing. Okay. Now here's the one of the ones that really, this is the one that bothered me the most personally. Yes, I'm a black man. Oh boy. I can hear it now. Oh, Vic, why you got a problem? Why you got a problem? But actually, you know what? Let me start off with my stinger because I know what's going to happen after this. Once I play this.
You know who talk about me the most on the internet? Niggas. Niggas. You know what's worse than a nigga? Two of them.
Okay. Actually, wait. Actually, hold on. Here's my real stinger.
You know who talk about me the most on the internet? Niggas. Niggas. You know what's worse than a nigga? Two of them.
Okay. All right. So now the reason why I bring that up is because I play that stinger all the time before I get on to any type of controversial issues regarding black people in America. And whenever I cover certain issues, I'm usually labeled as an Uncle Ruckus or an Uncle Tom, some sort of sellout. Oh, you hate being black. All that other nonsense. Just because I point out the truths about certain things regarding certain behaviors of black people, certain black people, not all black people. All of a sudden, I'm a hater. I hate black people. I hate the color of my skin. I hate the size of my lips. I hate the texture of my hair. Blah, 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 blah. All this garbage. Okay. So that's why I always kind of preface it with, this banner or the stinger regarding, me losing my black card. Because that's essentially what emotionally I have to go through with some of these individuals that disagree with some of my political leanings or even my religious leanings, so. But anyway, going back to this image here. So now we're looking at the video, back to this ad, and you see image of a cop. Now, the cop is cleaning the foot of a young black man. For those of you who are not watching, you're probably driving right now, or you're busy looking at some other things here. So I'll just describe to you what you're seeing just in case you're not able to look at the screen. And we got an image of a police officer who's kneeling on the ground, and he's got a bottle of water and he's pouring it on the foot of what looks to be a black teenager. Okay. Now, we can actually see that something like this actually did happen in real life a few years ago around the time of the George Floyd riots and stuff like that. So we actually had some sort of what we bore witness to some trend that was going around where white people, dumb, retarded, leftards, white people were going around willfully kneeling at black people and washing black people's feet because of their excessive amount of white guilt that they were suffering. Was that white guilt? Yeah, maybe. I don't know what they were guilty for unless they actually did something in secret and it wasn't revealed until it was manifested through their performance of white guilt. You know, maybe they did do something to some Negroes and none of us knew about it. So they felt bad about it around the time of the George Floyd riots. And so they started to, act stupid and start kneeling before random black people. But anyway, we did actually see this image here does actually portray something that actually did occur a few years ago, maybe 3. What's it? This 4 years ago. Wow, has it been 4 years since the riots with George Floyd and all that other garbage? Anyway. So anyway, I don't know. I now what do I like about this image? Well, again, this image to me, see, there's a very, very nuanced way to talk about this type of thing. You know what I mean? Because on one hand, it points a message out here saying, you police officers, all of you should apologize and be more mindful of the way you treat black people. Okay, now let me stop right there. If that's what you're saying by putting this message here, then you're being disingenuous, you're being dishonest, okay? And you're not practicing any real nuance. Because first of all, number one, and I know I'm speaking to the choir here, okay? First of all, not every police officer is bad, okay? Hello? If anyone practiced biblical and practiced to bother to observe biblical anthropology or practice biblical anthropology, okay, you would know that the Bible says what? In several places, that all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Romans chapter 3. Jeremiah 17:9 says that the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Does it say that the heart of the white man? Oh, no, doesn't say that. Does it say the heart of the police officer? Nope, doesn't say that. Does it say the heart of the right winger? Nope, doesn't say that. Does it say the heart of the conservative? Nope, doesn't say that. And neither does it say it for black people or for left-wing people. Although that's debatable too. I'll talk about that another time. The heart of the left. The heart of the left is deceitful and desperately wicked. We can talk about that another time. But anyway, I just noticed this. Cheryl says he stubbed his toe running from a guy. Yeah, that's funny. That's why the police officer is putting water on his foot, because he was running from this very cop. And he's like, okay, Tyrone, now next time don't run. Just stop and put your hands up. I did have my hands up, man, because y'all racist. Now let me stop. So anyway, again, so on one side, this image could portray this leftist trope that all police officers are bad, that all police officers are white, all police officers do is racial profile and all this other stuff. And this is, and what I'm about to say here is also the other retarded issue with a lot of these leftists, a lot of these woke people. That when you continue to put black people in a position like this, okay, you are asserting that this represents the whole. It does not. And everybody knows that. Everybody in their right mind who practices even the slightest bit of critical thinking knows that this does not pertain to all black people. Okay, not every black person listens to rap or practices, the garbage that you see in some of these gangster rap artists, you know, like messing around with the hoes, you know, busting the sag, shooting Negroes, and all this other stuff. Okay, there's some very educated black people who don't want to be associated or affiliated with any of that garbage. But see, those are the people that get accused of being an Uncle Tom. You know, you get your, as you can see on your screen here, you get your black card revoked by people who within the black community who think that you don't want to be black or you hate being black just because you don't want to have any association with gangsters. You don't want to have any association with toting guns and killing niggas, messing with them hoes, smoking blunts, busting the sag, do-rags, and all this other stuff. Committing crimes because you wasn't born with a silver spoon in your mouth. I said mouth with an F there. But anyway, so this, you know, and I've said this too about the Uncle Tom business too. People don't realize, especially white liberals who all of a sudden got the boldness to say this to black people like myself. They tell me that I'm an Uncle Tom because I have a certain way of thinking. And they don't realize that when they call me an Uncle Tom, they are being extremely racist when they say this. They say, wait, Vic, I'm not racist. I'm trying to point out the fact that you're racist, that you don't even like your own people. You don't like your own kind. Well, what do you mean I don't like my own kind? What does that mean? Well, because you over here dissing all the people that are in the streets. See, right there. I'm going to stop you right there, idiot. What you're telling me is that because I don't want to commit crime and because I am against the act of committing crime, because I don't really like to listen to certain types of music, I don't like to dress a particular fashion, or I don't even speak a particular fashion. Therefore, I hate being black, and I want to disassociate myself from blackness, period, or from being a Negro. And people don't realize that when they tell you that you're an Uncle Tom, they don't realize that they are asserting that all black people ought to think and act and look exactly the same, that black people by nature are monolithic. But see, you can't rationalize with idiots like this because they don't think. They only basically emote. They don't think. They don't practice critical thinking. Okay? And this is the exact reason why you're going to have some people who are going to try to revoke my black card as if that matters to me. Yeah, so I make fun of it, as you can see on your screen. I make fun of it. I make fun of it. You know, but anyway. So, anyway, on the negative side, this image could be viewed as the woke tards or the left-tards trying to shove down this anti-cop, defund police bad, black people good type of mentality. Because you got the cop who's light-skinned. Now, you know, we can debate on what ethnicity the cop in this image is. Again, this looks like it's AI. So whoever put this together, they probably just typed in something in AI and say, hey, I need an image of a black teen having his feet washed by a cop, by a police officer. Now, for some reason, when you go to AI and you type in something very general, like let's say people in a crowd cheering, AI is automatically going to give you an image of a group of white people. That's just the way it's designed. I don't think that there's anything malicious intended. It's just what AI does. Okay, it's very rare that you'll see people of color, if you will. I don't even like that term. It's very rare that you see black people in the midst of an image, an AI generated image. Okay, so you have to be specific if you want AI to create a multiracial or multi-ethnic group of people in an image. You have to say, AI, create a picture of a diverse group of people cheering. And then AI will give you an image of a crowd with, blacks, Asians, something that looks extremely unique from white people, So, so why am I bringing that up? Because again, whoever put this image together had to deliberately type in those words. They had to type in, AI, give me an image of a black teen having his feet washed by a police officer. Now, they probably didn't have to put the word white police officer. They just had to put in the word police officer, and AI, by default, is going to give you at least somebody who looks white or somebody light skinned. Okay? Now, the other part of that conversation is that we have this image here, this police officer. He looks like he could pass for Hispanic. He could pass for Puerto Rican or Mexicano. He looks like he could pass for Latinx. Nah, we don't do that here. We don't say Latinx here. I'm not Latino, but I love my Latino familia, and we're not gonna have them say Latinx here, man. No. We don't say Latinx. You say Latino, Hispanic. Okay? We don't say Latinx here, man. That's for that gay stuff, man. That's for the gay white leftards, man. So, but anyway, let's just pretend that the image of the cop here is like straight up white, like blonde hair, blue eye type of image here. The message is still there. You have a cop washing the feet of a black teen. Okay? And if you're on the left, or if you're woke, what this image says to you is, yes, defund the police. Police are bad, and they need to ask and seek the forgiveness of the black people that they've been tormenting and racial profiling in the streets for the longest time. Okay? Now, if you try to be fair and try to be a little bit more open-minded with this image, you can just say, well, this is just a random act between two forces, because let's face it, folks, I mean, there is a lot of reality to this image here. That black people, we have been known to, we are known, as a matter of fact, the statistics are still out there as far as I know. We're 13% of the population in the United States, but we commit 50% of the crimes, or something like that. Okay. And yes, it is a fact that there are some bad police officers out there. Yes. There are some bad police officers there. So if you're a bad police officer, maybe you should be washing the feet of someone whom you've wrongfully racially profiled, or wrongfully arrested, or wrongfully accused of a crime. Okay, just because they're black and they busting a sag and got the do-rag on, that doesn't mean that they did a crime. Okay? And so if you're harassing somebody just because they fit the description, okay, and you don't have any evidence that they've done anything wrong, yes, you should wash their feet. Sure, why not? Sure. But this is not and should not pertain to every cop, even including the cops who've done nothing but good to the citizens in whom they're trying to protect. So if you're a leftist, you're saying, yes, every cop should do this. Okay, so I've dwelt it long enough on that. So we'll move on to the next image here. All right. And okay, let's stop here. So now, again, sort of like the first image we saw with the young kid washing his father's feet, we got an image here of two women. Okay, one looks like she's one of those high school girl. It looks like it's taking place in high school. The girl on the left, excuse me, sorry about that. The Girl on the left, she's got red hair, red short hair, wearing red plaid pants and a black and white plaid shirt. And she's having a foot washed by the girl on the right, who has long blonde hair, kind of looks like one of your high school girls, really popular amongst the boys and stuff like that. She's got a mini skirt on, and she looks like she might be a huge fan of Taylor Swift, something like that. And so what does this image say to those of us on the right, or those of us who are not woke, or those of us who might see wokeness in this image? Well, if you're seeing wokeness in this image, what you're seeing is a person who the person on the right has white privilege, and they're washing the foot of the person on the left, who could easily represent somebody from the LGBTQ. So again, I don't want to assume that because she has short red hair, talking about the girl on the left, just because she has short red hair, that means that she's gay. We don't know that. There are a lot of people who are not gay, or who are not even on the left, that look exactly like this. Okay, but stereotypically speaking, that is the case here. That is the case here. Okay, so sure. I just stumbled upon this comment again. Where you said he stubbed his toe from running from a crime. That's funny. John says, "Do you actually have locks?" No, I don't have any locks anymore. I used to, but I cut them off, and then I tried to grow them back again. But because I'm of my age, my hair's receding in the back. I'm not bald, but my hair just doesn't grow in the same way that it once did. So I can probably get dreads in the very front, but I don't have any dreads anymore. So when you see me on camera, you probably see me with the cap on and stuff like that. So, we got Josh. Josh, welcome.
Did you answer the question on the screen?
Yeah, I was answering it just as you came in. Yeah, I don't have the locks anymore. Yeah,
man, I used to have locks myself.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, cut them off.
Are you a Hispanic?
Yeah, I'm Salvadorian, my ethnicity.
Oh, okay. I'm curious before we, get back to the topic, but what's your thoughts on the term Latinx? Like, how do you personally feel about it?
It's a little new age for me. I wouldn't identify as Latinx. I don't even like the word Hispanic very much.
Okay, gotcha.
But I'm okay with Latino or Hispanic.
Right.
But both Latino and Hispanic usually they have like a Mexican connotation to them.
I see.
Yeah, and since I'm Central American, so I'm
right.
I'm Salvadorian. Both my parents are from El Salvador, and I was born in America. So I mean, if you're asking me my nationality, it's American. If you're asking me my ethnicity, it's Salvadorian. And then whenever you have to fill out those forms and it's asking you what your race is, if there's an other option, I'll usually select other and put El Salvador. If there isn't, then I'll put either Hispanic or Latino. But
right.
But Latinx is kind of very new age, too inclusive for me, man. I'm not big on inclusivity. Yeah. People are different for a reason, and it doesn't make them less or better. It makes them special.
Yeah, you know why it's called Latinx though, right? Do you know? It took me a while to figure it out, to learn, to understand, but
not 100% sure. So go ahead.
Yeah. Well, Latinx, it's real simple because in Spanish speaking vernacular, you got usually things that end with an O is masculine, things that end with an A is feminine. But if you don't want to identify as male or female, then you'll put the X there as unknown.
Is that what that's for?
Yep. Like the name Malcolm X. He called himself Malcolm X because X, he didn't want to be identified by his slave name, his government name. So he didn't know what his real name would actually be. So he crossed out his last name and just called himself
But
X.
that's slightly different because this is falls into that like gender dysphoria issue.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's like, oh, I don't want to identify as Latino with the O because that's masculine, or Latina with the A because that's feminine. Just want to be known as Latin X because then I can deceive you and you don't have to know whether I'm a male or
Exactly. That's exactly.
It's
Yeah,
even
that's
more
why-
foolish now that
Yeah.
you explain it like this, but
Right. That's exactly why they call it Latin X. So because you get rid of the O and the A at the end of these particular terms, you could, some people don't say, don't call me boy, don't call me girl, I'm neither. Just call me whatever, they, or something like that. So
yeah.
it's the same thing with the Latinx. So to say Latinx is kind of the safe way of identifying people of Spanish culture or whatever you want to call
Gender neutral,
In a gender neutral
Latin, got
it.
it.
Right. In a gender neutral fashion, right. So if I just met you for the first time and I don't want to offend you, I don't know what your political leaning is. It's like, I'm going to say, hey, Josh, you're Latinx, right? Now, you either may roll your eyes at it or you may congratulate me for not misgendering you.
Yeah, no, that would offend me if someone came up to that and called me Latin. Are you Latin X? What is that even? No.
Right.
Latino.
And they did a study to, a survey. Most Latino, Hispanic people don't care about the term or don't want to be identified as such. So this is something that specifically came from white liberals trying to force their liberal agenda down everybody's throat. And that brings us back to the video that we're looking at here today.
And I mean, just a quick thing. I don't know if you're gonna maybe expand on this or not, but like, they recently had that Joel Osteen shooting, and I guess the person who did the shooting at first they said it was a white female, but now it turns out that it was actually a male who was identifying.
Oh, it was a transgender.
It was a transgender who did it.
Oh, see, they did it again. Just like that other shooting that happened last year. They said, my wife didn't know about it at first either. She said, we have our first mass shooter. I was like, female mass shooter. I said, really?
No, it wasn't.
And then a few hours later, I found out, no, it was a transgender.
Yep, that's what happened. And I just found out because somebody said it was a female came in with her son. And then my friend sent me some screenshots saying that the person's name is actually, a male name.
Right.
And, at one point or another, they started identifying as and this is the problem. This Latin X stuff. This is what it'll eventually translate to. It might be the extremist view of it, but you're gonna have a lot of this coming up more and more, where these transgender people are upset at church groups in particular because they feel that the church groups are out to like a witch hunt with pitchforks and right, on a mission. It's like, oh, our mission is to serve God. It's not to tell you that you are a woman or that you're not a woman. Like, if you want to get right with God, like, that's something you'll explore on your own. But yeah, I mean, that's what I feel that a lot of this culture, a lot of this gender dysmorphia culture is leading to. A lot of aggression, especially from the transgender community, where they feel victimized, and this is what it results in.
That's right. Sherry J says this commercial is pure propaganda disguised as love. Yeah, absolutely. The commercial that we're reviewing right now. So for those of you who are just now coming in and you may not be familiar with the image that we're looking at on the screen here, this is an image of an ad that was shared during the Super Bowl. And I didn't actually watch the Super Bowl this year, but I did hear about this commercial, and then I finally got around to seeing it. And I'm just like, wow. So there's a little bit of an outrage by some conservatives, mainly those who are in the Christian camp, because they feel that this is a little bit of a mockery of what we see Jesus doing in John 13. So we're definitely going to touch on that a little bit later.
That's
I'm just kind of going,
it is, man. That's
yeah, and yeah, because I try to do what most liberals don't do, is to think critically. So I try to give people the benefit of the doubt and just, say, okay, let's examine the images first, and then we can determine, at least if from nothing else, from a conjectural standpoint, whether or not this was intended with malice or not.
I mean, they could. It may not be malice, but show me another example of another culture or belief group prior to Jesus,
Yes.
or after Jesus, that originated independently from the teachings taught in the Gospels of washing of feet.
Right.
And let's look at it. You really, I mean, if someone can present like, yeah, look, this is an Egyptian tradition that they would wash each other's, then okay, maybe. But I don't know. I don't think anyone's really gonna come up and present any information that points away. This is maybe not a mockery of what Christ did, but maybe trying to lean on his teachings, where you're not better than someone else, right? Because that's what Christ. What was Christ teaching us at that point, right? He washed someone else's feet as a sign of humility.
That's right.
I mean, if we want to give them the benefit of the doubt, then we can say that maybe they're touching on that aspect specifically.
Right. Exactly. And see, as we go further, there'll be more images that might give credence to that point you just made, as far as trying to give people the benefit of the doubt instead of jumping to the conclusions that this is some sort of woke propaganda, which it definitely is woke. At least, well, I'll say propaganda at the very least. It is definitely propaganda. There's no argument there. Question is, what is the intent behind it? Are they trying to push a leftist agenda? It certainly looks like that. But based off of some, they're just images. There's no words.
Yeah.
It can be up for debate because we're kind of looking at people's personal perspective on these images individually. So, yeah,
a picture's worth 1,000 words, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant to say. Worth 1,000 words. Okay. So anyway, before we hit play and it'll go to the next image, we got an image here again for those of you who are just coming in. We got an image of two girls. They both look like teenagers in high school. They're in a high school hallway. The one on the left has got short red hair, almost like a buzz cut, and black fingernail polish. And the other one on the right has long blonde hair. She looks like a valley girl, kind of one of those girls you see stereotypically in a high school movie, where she's kind of popular. She's kind of prude and pristine and whatever. She usually has like an entourage of other girls that are just as pretty as she is hanging around her. That type of girl. And so that girl, that we'll call her Valley Girl. Valley Girl is washing the feet of the short redhead girl. And again, if you could see the image, you would easily conclude stereotypically that the girl on the left is a representative of LGBTQ. But again, as I said before, just because she looks like this, that doesn't mean that she actually is gay or LGBTQ repping. You know what I mean? Because there are some conservatives that dress like this. So, but anyway, but let's just go with exactly the way the image looks. Again, it looks like pure propaganda.
Yeah, it could just be. It could. I think maybe like a lot more simpler would be just kind of like the popular kid versus the not so popular kid.
Right. Yeah. Give us somebody who's not as attractive. Maybe somebody with glass. An image of the one who's having his feet washed. Will have glasses, some braces, a shirt pocket with a whole bunch of pens in it, you know,
The whole
that kind of
doofus
thing.
look.
Yeah, exactly. Let's give us something like that instead of this image here of this girl who looks like she's part of the LGBTQ community. Because LGBTQ, everybody loves the LGBTQ and people. you know, uh, and when, take that with a grain of salt when I say it that way. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm saying that not everybody who's gay is a jerk, or they're just looking to do malicious acts and stuff like that. There are a lot of gay people out there who are very delightful people to be around. Very funny, very polite. They don't even care about the LGBTQ agenda. They just have this struggle, this affliction with being attracted to someone of the same sex, but they're not terrible people. They're not menace to society in any way, shape, or form. So
Real quick before you
go ahead.
move on to the next thing here, like I said in the comments, I don't know if you saw, I'm going to say the most Calvinist thing I'm ever going to say in my life. So if anybody's ever going to clip me being a Calvinist, this is your opportunity here. But I've been praying to God for someone's heart to be softened.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hatred, a lot of resentment in their heart. And as of the past couple of days, or a week or so, I've seen almost 180 change of character, personality, demeanor, character. It's just I'm really impressed, and the person hasn't necessarily came forth and said, I believe in Jesus Christ, but the change of heart and the change of attitude leads me to believe that there may be hope there.
Oh, that's good.
So
is this person you're speaking of is a professed believer, or?
No, they're a professing witch.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But you see a change in their behavior, a change in their attitude.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess this is kind of where the whole Calvinist thing comes into play, where I've had to tell myself that it would take a miracle. It would take God to miraculously intervene in this person's life for them to say, what have I been doing?
Right.
And like I said, they haven't necessarily gotten to the point where they're proclaiming Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. But
something's changed, right?
Yeah, something's definitely changed, and I'm definitely starting to see a big improvement in their outlook on life and their outlook on other people. And as someone who holds strongly against the position of predetermination, I believe that an individual is the one that comes to this realization. So I'm not 100% sure if something has happened that has got them to start seeing things in a new light. And all I can do is give glory to God that there has been that change of heart. And, if this results in them eventually coming to Christ and renouncing their old lifestyle and becoming a new creature in Christ, I'm gonna have to go ahead and say that this is something only God could have done, because I didn't see the individual coming to this on their own.
Amen.
And that's the most Calvinist thing you'll ever hear me say. And I still believe that the individual I've been planting seeds, right? They know about what I believe, they know about the gospel, and maybe it's finally starting to manifest in their soul. Whatever it is, man, whether I can never truly say if it was God's doing or the individual's doing. I'm just gonna be happy if their life comes to Christ, and I think that's something to be happy about.
Praise God, man. That's good.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah, the most important thing is that, you know, God could give us the grace to deal with this individual in any way he sees fit. You know, it's ultimately for his name's sake.
Yeah.
And then secondarily for our good, I would say, according to Romans 8. So,
amen. Okay.
Thanks for sharing that, man. Appreciate that.
Don't worry. I thought that might.
No, that's always good news, man. It's always good news to hear people responding in a positive way to the good news or the influence of Christians' behavior. You know, so that's always a good thing. Testimonies are always good to hear. They're specifically designed to encourage and edify and build up the saints. So it's always good to share that kind of stuff every once in a while, especially in this environment, you know, where we're arguing over Calvinism versus non-Calvinism, and free grace versus non-free grace, you know. So we need a little bit of that positivity to kind of come back and to bring encouragement.
Yeah, find some middle ground. I've never believed that it was man 100% on his own accord. I've always understood that the Holy Spirit is on earth and drawing and calling all, so that none should perish, but that all should come to repentance. So I believe in part God is working, and in part man is becoming subjective to that work that God is doing. I think that's where I might kind of slightly differ from the Calvinists, where they would say that it is all of God's doing. But yeah, thank you, man, and I think we can kind of move forward with this video presentation. Yeah. Thank you, man.
No sweat. All right, so we'll move on to I hit play and it'll go to the next image here. So we already did a thorough examination on the previous image here. So let's go to the next image. All right. So it's playing right now. Okay, let it zoom in a little bit more. All right. Oh, actually, let's go back. Hold on. Let's go on with the music. This video is very short. Hold on. Okay, now this next image looks like it's taking place out in the desert somewhere, and it's a white man, another white person washing the feet of another non-white person. So this person is Native American, looks like an elderly Native American man having his feet washed by an old white man. Okay, and again, here's that. You know, that's what all of these images are. They're all images of somebody washing another person's feet. Okay, the commonality that you're going to see, though, you know, a little bit of spoiler alert, is that the majority of people that are washing people's feet are white. So either they're white males or white females, and the majority of people that are getting their feet washed are either black or non-white, or they represent the LGBTQ community. So that's what you're going to see in these images. But anyway, let's just play on to the next video. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Again, we have an image for those of you who can't see what I'm showing. It's an image taking place in the desert. Got an old Native American man. He's gray haired. He's got the two ponytails on both sides over his chest. And there's a white man, elderly white man, kneeling down beside him, washing the Native American's feet. So let's play the next next image rather. Okay, now here's another one. This one should kind of make Christians angry too. This probably should make Christians the most angry. actually, out of all of this images. For those of you who are not able to see, let me just describe to you what you see here. We got a teenage girl, white girl. She's having her feet washed by an older white woman. Okay, now here we have two white people together. They're having their feet washed. Well, the white woman is washing the feet of the white teenage girl. And they are in front of a building that says Family Planning Clinic. Let me say that again. Family Planning Clinic. And then on the side, you have a group of people who look like protesters. Okay, but neither one of them are holding up their signs. They just look like they're just kind of getting ready to head home for the day. So they're just kind of mingling amongst themselves. While these two white women are in the foreground, one washing the other one's foot. Now, and again, they're in front of this building that has the words Family Planning Clinic. Now, you take a wild guess what's happening in this image, folks. Just take a wild guess. Everybody, the Christian knows this, and you should be upset with this image. What we see here, the Family Planning Clinic here, that's an abortion clinic. That's what that is. They could try, the leftards could try to weasel their way around it and try to say, no, it doesn't say abortion there. So why are you saying that it's an abortion clinic? Come on, give me a freaking break. Don't try to play that game with me. We can see right through the garbage. Okay? We saw the images that precede this one, and we're going to see more images that follow. That we know what's going on with this entire ad here. It's woke. It's woke AF. Okay? They're trying to put a woke, leftist, radically left-leaning message here. And instead of saying Planned Parenthood on the building, they put the words, they think they're sneaky. They're not sneaky. Come on, man. Christians are smarter than this, but they don't think that because they're stupid. But they put the words Family Planning Clinic. Okay, what kind of planning comes with the family? Well, when you're going to a clinic and you're talking about family planning, you're not talking about finances on, okay, should I buy this house or should I buy this car or, that kind of thing. You're not getting counseling on whether or not you should stop playing video games or you should stop going to the movies or stop going to the club. No, when you're going to a clinic to get family planning, you're discussing on whether or not you should have a baby. That's what's happening here. You're going to a clinic with the words on the side of the building that says family planning. What do you think you're going there for? You're going there to discuss whether or not you want to have a baby. And guess what? You're not going there if you're not pregnant. You're going there if you are. Which means you're contemplating on, let's just be honest, folks, killing the baby. Yes, it's murder. So again, back to the image here. White teenage girl sitting on a bench, having her feet washed by an elderly white woman, probably, let's say, in the early 50s, maybe a little bit late, older, who knows. Washing her feet, washing the teenage girl's feet. And they're both in front of a building that says Family Planning Clinic. And you got protesters in the background. What's happening? What is this image telling you? We know what this image is telling you. This image is telling you that I'm sorry, you abortionists. I'm sorry, you baby killers. Will you please forgive me for speaking against your right to kill this baby, to kill this zygote? I'm sorry. Let me wash your feet. I'm washing your feet to show you that I understand you. And while I disagree with abortion and your desire to kill this baby, I want to show you that I'm here for you and I serve you. And I'm saying that it's okay for you to go on ahead and kill this baby. Yes. Now watch, somebody's going to clip that video. Somebody's going to clip it. That's what's being portrayed here in this image. So, Miss Christian, if you are against abortion, here's what you need to do based off of this image here. What you need to do, Mr. and Mrs. Christian, is you need to go find yourself a person who's about to go get an abortion, and you need to ask them for forgiveness. That's what you need to do. That's what this image is telling you to do. If you don't do it, then you ain't no real Christian. Now, I would challenge anybody who just heard me say that to find one single passage that supports abortion, or one single passage that supports a Christian going up to a person who's about to get an abortion and to congratulate them for it. Because that's essentially what you see this image here on your screen. This image is saying, hey, let's congratulate those who want to get an abortion. But if you're talking to a leftard, what they're going to say is, no, it's not saying let's congratulate those who want to get an abortion. It's saying let's congratulate those who want freedom, who want autonomy, bodily autonomy. My body, my choice. Let's celebrate the women who are fighting against a government who wants to control their bodies. That's what the left is saying. That's what the left would say with this image. Because they'll try to play games with you and say, there's nothing in this image about abortion. The word abortion is nowhere to be found in his image. Well, yes, of course. But as Brother Josh said when he was just in here, a picture speaks 1,000 words. And so again, anybody with a brain, with just a few brain cells, can look at this image and know right away what's going on in this image, what this image is trying to portray, especially those of us who are professing Christians, those of us who are studying the scriptures, those of us who are familiar with John 13. If you are familiar with John 13 and you are a professing believer in Jesus Christ, you know what this particular image is trying to portray. And personally, I'm not saying that you need to go out, flip furnitures and, look for leftists to go punch in the mouth or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that you should be a little disturbed by this as a Christian. You should be disturbed by this. You should be upset. If you're upset by this image, rightly so, you should be. Because what they're doing is trying to take something that Christ decided to do in John 13 as an act of servitude. And we're going to go into an exegetical examination of that later on. But see, what the left is trying to do is they're trying to get you to say to the left, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Please forgive me for disagreeing with your political views. Please forgive me for disagreeing with your homosexuality, your commending of it, your applaud of it, your lifestyle of it. Please forgive me, Mr. Black Man, for arresting you, for throwing you in jail because you committed a crime. Please forgive me, white, vulnerable teenager, for criticizing you and speaking against you getting an abortion. Please forgive me for all of these things. Let me wash your feet. That's essentially what these images are saying. Hey, so with that, I'm going to step away from the mic for a few seconds. So I'm going to take a little break. So I'll be right back. Thank you for hanging out this long. Here we go. Okay, I'm back. All right. Let me close the door. My dog is barking. Okay. All right. So we're back again. For those of you just coming in, we're looking at this recent Super Bowl ad that came out, where there's definitely some hardcore left-leaning propaganda in this ad that was shown. And of course, what better time to push some heavy leftist woke propaganda in people's faces when everybody's watching the same program at the same time. And from what I'm understanding, I'm not quite sure of this, but from what I'm understanding too, that this is probably one of the most watched Super Bowls ever, simply because of the presence of Taylor Swift being at the game. So now that Taylor Swift went to the game, all of a sudden you got all these people who've never watched a single football game before are now excited about, either they hate the game or they love football because they've never seen football before. One second. Yes. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, folks. Let's get back to the next video here. So let's see. All right. Now, here is the next image here. Oh, let's go back. Let's go back a second. Okay. I keep forgetting this video is very, very short. So the pictures are going to go by really quick. Okay. Now, we are now into the next image. And again, here we have two white women. They're inside a kitchen, somebody's home. Okay, and if you look around, there's wine bottles all over the place. The one on the left is a younger girl. She looks like she's in her maybe maybe early to mid 20s. She's got red hair. And to the left of her is an older woman. She's got long dark hair. She's probably, let's say, late 50s, I'm assuming. And by the looks of it, we can say that the woman on the right with the dark hair, the older woman, is probably a drunkard. She probably has an issue with alcohol or substance abuse. So I think that's the image that we're trying to get from here. And the one on the right, the one on the left, is the one washing the feet of this troubled older woman. Now, this is one of the images that I could say, okay, this is a fairly decent image here. Okay. Because it looks like this girl on the left could possibly be the daughter of this woman on the right. Maybe they're related. And she's washing her feet. She's washing the feet of this elderly woman that looks like she might be a drug user or an alcoholic. So it's a decent image here. So maybe we can say at some time in the past, this woman who's on the elderly woman probably stole some money from her daughter, probably did several bad things against her daughter in order to get her fix, to get some drugs or get some liquor or something like that. And they're both sitting on the kitchen floor next to the sink. And they have their foreheads touching each other and, smiling, while the younger girl is washing her foot with her right hand. So anyway, it's a fairly, again, can we say that this is unbiblical? Is this mockery of God? I would say no, at least not this particular image. Not this particular image, because when Jesus washed the feet of the disciples, he's not only acting as a servant towards those guys, but he's also, I guess one could argue that it was a display of forgiveness as well. And we can see that here in this image. The daughter's washing the feet of the mother, probably because the mother's done many, many bad things, maybe neglect, maybe she stole something from her in the past. So who knows? But anyway, let's move on to the next image here. So, okay, let's see. Okay, now we are at another image here. Again, another white person cleaning and washing the feet of what looks like an Asian girl. So it's a white man. He's dressed as a firefighter, I guess. They look like they're in the middle of the desert as well. And the Asian girl is sitting on like a metal can. She's barefoot. And the firefighter, actually, no, let's say construction worker or oil worker, because he's pouring water onto her feet using his hard hat. And you see some boots in the background and then those oil pumps in the background as well. So I'm not getting what the image here is supposed to be, like who she's supposed to represent or anything like that. But again, here we have another white person washing the feet of an ethnicity, of a non-white person, I should say. I won't say ethnicity. Everybody's ethnic, but yeah. Don't really have much to say to that. Okay, let's go to the next image. Okay, now here's another one that bothers me a lot too. Okay, so we had the one at the clinic, the abortion clinic, and now we got one that looks like a group of illegal immigrants standing outside of a bus waiting to get inside of the bus. And on the bus, you have, you know how you see on the bus, it kind of gives you the destination. The bus has a little banner above the driver's seat, tells you where it's going, like to New York or to Chicago. Well, this one says to Chicago. Now, in front of the bus is a woman with a baby. She looks Hispanic, a Latinx, and she's having her feet washed by, you guessed it, just take a wild guess what ethnicity the person is that's washing her feet. A white person. Yes, of course. Because that is the purpose of white folk here in this world, is to wash the feet of the non-whites. And speaking of white folk, hey, brother Ryan, how's
I
it
was
going?
going to say, do I get to be the token white guy now?
Yes, yes. And
So
too bad I can't see you in person. Otherwise, I'd have you wash my feet.
Well, brother, I hate to break it to you, but that's not a commandment 1 and 2. These people are delusional. I keep telling black folks, and this kind of conversation comes around. Have you seen the latest U.S. Census data? The black population is shrinking.
Mm-hmm.
It is not growing, it is shrinking. So now what you're seeing instead is that the Hispanic category is replacing the black category. So if you want me as a white guy to bow down and wash your feet, I hate to break it to you, but statistically speaking, by 2030, then 2050, there'll be barely any black folks left at this rate. Because not only are black birth rates low, but what's been historically high for decades? The black abortion rate.
That's right.
So I hate to break it to these delusional people who've been lied to by Black Lives Matter and other such organizations. You don't have enough black people to make white people bow down and wash your feet. You're delusional. What you should concentrate on is, how do I financially educate 100,000 black people, get them to stop listening to rap music and participating in the rap culture, and how do I get them to invest in black neighborhoods and black people? That would change the country.
That's right. Yeah, Larry Elder says, or is it Larry Elder or is it Thomas Sowell? I forget which one of them said this, but they said that if black people were to handle finances in a fashion that is that'd be widely acceptable. I forget exactly how he said it. Would be like the 15 richest people group or something like that. Something like that. Well, I don't know exactly.
I'll tell you this much. If there were enough financially literate black people, you wouldn't have a need for the black family in America to be on welfare. You wouldn't need it.
Right.
You could be giving welfare out to the poor of other categories. You could take care of your own poor. There would be never a need to be dependent on a white person again. So let's just buy the argument, even though it's categorically and statistically untrue, that white people are racist. If that would be the case, then a financially literate black family wouldn't need a white dollar ever again. You wouldn't even need to go into a white bank. You could start your own black only banks.
Yeah, and even that's going bad now too. The black only banks are have you probably heard are very skeptical of lending money or giving loans to black people.
Yeah, right, because they're too high risk, and of course they'll then say the banking system is racist. Boo boo. I worked in the car business. I can tell you why they don't want to deal with you. When they see that someone doesn't know how to pay their bills, and they see that you're irresponsible with your money, they don't want to lend to you. They can collect data. You give them that right when you click the checkbox or when you sign the form. They know which people groups are generally more responsible with their money than others. They don't want to give you $100,000 because they fear that you're going to make them lose money. So it's not a game they want to play. It's a zero-win game for them. They don't want to give you $100,000 so you can go buy a Maserati.
Yep, and we actually do have somebody who disagrees with you here on the population dwindling and stuff.
Who is this?
Sounds like a black. Yeah. By the name, it sounds like a black Hebrew Israelite.
Well, I'm going by the statistics from the U.S. government. You're welcome to debate those statistics with the ones who make them from the Census Bureau. But again, I don't know where in the world someone with a probably black Hebrew Israelite handle is citing these statistics. No one said that the white population wasn't dwindling, but I said that the black population, according to the census data, is dwindling faster. The Asian and Hispanic sectors are outpacing it by far.
Yeah, many of them are sneaking into this country. I don't know if you heard about that too. We got a lot of these illegal immigrants that are coming in. A great deal of them are from China.
Yeah,
what
a
does
great
that tell
number of
you?
them are terrorists and criminals, or they're outright Chinese nationals, or Russian nationals for that matter.
Yeah. Yep.
They're not,
And it's all
defectors.
because people hate Trump so much that they had to vote for a guy who's just going to open the borders for everybody to come
Right.
in.
Someone who now has almost his entire cabinet turning on him, and whose own federal government has said he's senile. The reason Biden is not currently being prosecuted for his document scandal, where he clearly had classified documents hid in his garage with no security at all, is that he was declared to be senile by the prosecutor.
Exactly. He's too senile to stand in court, but he's not senile for the 25th Amendment to be invoked. I get it. I get you.
What I think will happen, in my opinion, is that you'll probably see a temporary changeover to Kamala Harris. Michelle Obama already said, no, I don't want that. I don't want the presidency. We had our run. So I figure they're going to try to find somebody to take their place. I wonder if they wouldn't use Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, who doesn't know the difference between one federal statute and another. Have you seen that clip?
Oh, yeah.
She's excoriating a border DHS official whose job it is literally to enforce the law, by telling him how unkind and incompassionate it was to ban illegals when he cites the statute back there, and she just kind of melts.
Yeah, she's an idiot. I mean, she was saying that there are 4 houses, 4 levels of
She's
government.
An idiot from a safe voting district. That's how you get these politicians. They come in young and they'll stay there forever, because as long as their voters don't educate themselves, they just continue voting for her.
I think they might be eyeballing Gavin Newsom, who would absolutely be atrocious. He would be a total dictator.
He would, albeit I don't think he would do very well. I think that they're going to try to replace Biden, but Biden doesn't want to go. If they run Biden, I guarantee you it's the strongest argument you could make for a Trump re-election ever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, his the polling has, as far as blacks liking Trump, has increased tremendously.
I mean, when they put out the mugshot, I think the aspersions of the black community against Trump probably vanished, because the black community looked at that and said, well, this happens to us all the time. Now they're doing it to Trump. So, even if the system were systemically racist, it isn't. But even if it was, even the president is affected. So now they can resonate with him. And frankly, I think they noticed life was much better for black people under President Trump, who actually did things for black people, compared to Barack Obama or almost any other president.
Yep. And that can be easily demonstrated. I argued with my cousins many, many times. I provided them documentation. Mm-hmm. They not a single one of them have any ability to refute it. They just emotionally disregard it, which they're welcome to do, but it's not an argument against facts.
Right. By all means, disregard the data if you don't want to regard it. But if you are going to ignore the plain fact that for the first time, excuse me, for the first time in some, quarter to half a century, that the black vote, the minority vote, the Hispanic vote is turning red, and not just a little bit. It's turning red by a lot. It's astonishing. And what did it take? It just took a radical left-wing, senile old racist who voted for segregation, by the way, to come into office.
Yep.
Well, theologically, yes. Theologically, that is the problem is not race. But I simply cite those statistics from the Census Bureau from the last census polling, because I try to tell certain black people, you've been duped. You don't have enough people to take over. That's the point I'm making. If you really want white people to kiss your feet, you don't have enough people. And don't think you can go to Jamaica or other areas in the Caribbean or Africa to ask them to come fight the white people. They're not going to do it.
That ain't gonna happen. Especially in Africa. Especially in Africa.
No.
The Africans don't even like black Americans that
They
much.
will return to send out, get this nonsense out of here. They won't have that.
Yeah, absolutely. Say, pull up your pants first, then I might consider helping you. Okay.
Well, and it's funny because when you look at the African segment of the black family, they pride themselves on the right things, and when they come to the Western world, they usually do pretty well because they pride themselves on education, they pride themselves on family. It's the polar opposite of the American or Western black family, especially the American black family, which just goes to show you the problem here is the complete destruction of the family unit by evil people and evil forces, and the decimation of black fathers. You have whole generations of black people angry as hell, and I don't blame them for being angry because they didn't have their dad. All they had was their mom. Look, I get it. I didn't have my father. He was an absentee and an abusive person when he was in my life for most of my life. I get it. I understand. But statistically, you're just not seeing fathers in the American black home, and we see the damages. It's sad.
Yeah, it is. And for those who are really woke or awake, I should say, we can see what the devil is trying to do.
Of course,
through these policies coming from predominantly the left.
Right.
But
They want to foment a race war.
Well, they want absolute chaos so that they have an excuse to come in and be the solution to bring the chaos, which is going to enslave everyone. Yeah.
They want to foment a race war, or they want to be able to use an everent for false flags so that they can declare martial law and seize absolute control. Because every time martial law is officially declared, we lose a bit more freedom.
That's
and typically it doesn't return.
Talking about curfews, well, we're looking at something that could happen like what we used to see in Venezuela. You know, people eating out of garbage cans. Yeah.
At the rate of spending we've been seeing, with $33 billion of debt and a terrible foreign policy, that could be correct. Putin was absolutely correct when he said what he did to Tucker Carlson, if you watched the interview, about the U.S. dollar. The policy of weaponizing the dollar is a terrible and stupid policy that the United States should immediately abandon if it wants to have any hope of retaining homogeny in the future.
Yep. Yeah, that's why it's way too easy to say that these people are retarded for coming up with these policies. There has to be something insidious behind it. There has to be. I mean, even with things like, for example, with Disney, you know, I've often asked people questions about corporate entities. Why does it always seem like corporate entities make some of the dumbest decisions? But if you're a movie follower like myself, you see that you've been following Disney's been for the past several years have been making some really, really incredibly blatantly stupid decisions.
I mean, look at
you might as well just get on. You might as well just get on camera and put a blade to your throat and say, "Hi, my name is Disney. Watch this," and then just drag the blade across your throat.
Oh yeah,
because that's essentially what they're doing.
It's also you notice the Budweiser scandal. Anheuser-Busch quickly turned face with that. They got rid of Dylan Mulvaney. They got a redneck as the new face for Anheuser-Busch. Is that racist? No, it's smart because they realize the people who drink their beer are not white collar liberals. It's blue collar, hardworking rednecks that drink their product. So had the good corporate sense to realize we threw billions down the tube because of stupid Dylan Mulvaney.
Yep.
Get rid of that, and the stupid woman who suggested that, Disney.
Yep, she's gone too. Yeah.
You know, whatever it is, I don't even know what to call them anymore. They can gender bend. So today they can be gay. Tomorrow they can be a man. Next day they can be a silver fox. I mean, Lord knows what they can do next. But yeah,
Right.
as far as Disney, I just what I think it's going to do is this: they can't realize that they're not the only one in town anymore. And I believe that the homogeny Disney has held and all the things Disney is owning, it will come to an end if they keep making these mistakes.
Yep.
Parents, see, what's interesting is parents don't care about a corporation being liberal. What parents care about are, why are you trying to sexualize pornographic content to my kids?
Right. Exactly. See, the moment, Disney, it's ridiculous. And there's more reports that just recently came out about some of the writers of some of these shows that come out. Disney is deliberately hiring people who are not familiar with the content or the lore of the shows these IPs. They're doing it deliberately.
It's all DEI hires, as they call it. But look, I'm not a comic book fan per se, but I'm very well read on the subject. I was curious as to what that meant and how that worked. So I started researching that over a decade ago. It's very clear these writers don't even know anything about the comic.
Right.
They don't understand the significance of the comic. They don't care.
You're on camera admitting it.
Yeah, they don't care. They can just publish content and think the fans are dumb enough to watch it, because all they care about is that they get tickets, they get sales.
Yep, they are on camera admitting it, actually. We lost Ryan. He'll come back. But anyway, let's move on to the video. So back to the image. So we got image here. A white woman washing the feet of looks like Hispanic woman. She's obviously not white. And she's in front of a bus. And next to that bus is a group of people that look Hispanic. You know, some of them got backpacks, they got water, and they look like they're waiting to get either on the bus or they just got off the bus.
Yeah.
Now, what is this image saying? Yeah, it's all right. So what can we say that this image is saying? It's saying, again, just like we saw with the white cop washing the foot of the black teenager in the street, it's saying, I'm sorry, non-white person, you illegal immigrant. Here, I forgive you. It's okay for you to come to this country without documentation, illegally. Let me wash your feet and show you that you're welcome. I love you. You know, you just can't live in my house, but you can live here. You know, and that's the message that's being portrayed in this image. Go ahead.
Right. And of course, I always will put it this way. If you try to emigrate illegally into Mexico, do you have any idea the prison sentence you'll be facing if captured?
Mm-hmm.
It's much stiffer than in the United States. Do you have any idea what happens if you try to illegally immigrate into Canada, or if you try to illegally immigrate into most South American countries? You will be facing prison if caught and prosecuted, way worse than what you face in the U.S. The United States is one of the only countries where it's actually opening the borders. The only reason you open the borders is because you can't control them. That's what we saw during the fall of the Roman Empire. When the eastern part of the Roman Empire fell, why did it fall? Because Rome could no longer man the border.
And we're definitely close to that right now.
Right. We are close. We're getting closer to it by the day. I think it's fixable. If Trump is right, we're going to catch and deport these people. Now, by the way, if you think that's racist, go revisit the Obama administration. What did they call Barack Hussein Obama? Hispanics called Barack Obama the deporter-in-chief. Would you like to guess how many people he deported?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I've heard that. Yeah.
About 3 million people. He deported 3 million people. He deported
during his entire administration?
Right. During all 8 years, he deported way more than Donald Trump. Way more than Trump.
Yeah, these people have to be deported, and we need a stronger border. We need people.
Wow. I think what needs to happen, honestly, is that we need to have potentially a new branch for the government or for the armed forces. I think that we need to have a border force. Most other countries have that. or a version of that, where they have the exclusive authority over the border at the federal level, where they not only have military funding, but they have the policing capacity to deal with it. But you don't even need to do that. All you need to do is this. If you stop sending billions of foreign aid to Ukraine and dumped it on the border, we can solve the border crisis by the end of the month.
That's right.
It's simple. We build a big, massive wall and make it really flippin' difficult to get in the United States. Then on the flip side, you do what President Trump did. You make it easier for legal immigrants to come, and they usually do pretty well. They want to acclimate to American society. They want to be functional members of society, and they usually do pretty well. They also don't have much toleration for the illegals.
That's what we need. The problem is that we have an entity. A lot of these corporate entities act like they're too scared of being labeled a racist or whatever. I don't know. But these people that are whining about these kinds of things, they are the minority. They are the minority.
The smartest thing that a company can do, and they're starting to realize this again, is be apolitical. I really don't care if you're raging socialists over at Colgate or Anheuser-Busch or Facebook, what have you. Just don't put it in my face.
Right. Which is exactly what this ad is doing. But they're trying to do it in a very covert fashion by borrowing from Christianity, borrowing from John 13, and try to make it look like, see, this is the most humble thing you could do to another person. We should do this to illegal immigrants. Yeah.
Christ did not wash the feet of people who stomped all over him.
That's right.
This whole picture is radically unbiblical. I don't know from where it's sourced. I mean, I don't know if it has anything to do with the Super Bowl or not. I didn't even watch the Super Bowl. I have no idea what happened.
Neither did I, yeah.
I don't care about football at all. Besides, I don't watch most American sports anyway. But that being said, the message of Christ is that we are all equal because we have all transgressed his law. And he who believes, repents and believes, Christ has come to save. The message is not, therefore, let me put my black heel on your white neck.
Right. Right.
Because it's the Christian thing to do to give me reparations. Okay, well, you know what? Fine. Let's give out reparations. Let's also give out reparations to the kinsfolk of all those poor white people, the poor Irish, the poor Scots, the poor English, and so on, who are indentured servants. Let's also give out reparations to the Chinese and to others who were also part of the slave trade. It's not simply the black family that was affected.
That's right. And black people just don't seem to get it. They don't seem to realize that when the leftists utilize this type of these tropes, it's meant to empower them. So you're continuously put in a position where you're victimized, and you're always in need of a savior. You're always in need of someone outside of your community to help you. So therefore, you're not encouraged to do anything for yourselves.
By the way, Al Sharpton is outside of your community. He's not an average black man. He's a rich black man who doesn't give a crap about black people.
Yeah, we call him Al. We call him Al Sharp Tongue.
Right, he's a snitch. I say that because really, when people look up to, I don't know, Maxine Waters or Oprah as black people that are respectable black people, you're forgetting something. These people don't exist in your world. Barack Obama does not exist in your world. He does not care about the plight in the inner neighborhoods. I have to give President Trump his credit. He cared. He went to Chicago. He was giving advice. He tried to do something about the Chicago gang violence that's ripping apart the black communities in Chicago. Do you think that Barack Obama cares about the inner city youth in Chicago? No. These aren't black people. These are rich black people. You need to understand, every time the black family reaches out to them for help, you might as well be talking to white folks.
Yeah. Yep.
Oprah. Do you think Oprah, with all her billions of dollars, is going to give $1 to helping black causes? No. She'd only do it if it made her look good or if it was a tax break. She doesn't care about the common average black person.
Right. She puts up the facade that, when, she gives people a free car and stuff like that. Okay. Yeah. I got into a discussion. I want to move on, but I wanted to say this real quick. I got into a discussion with an atheist a few years ago about, what can be done to make the black community improve. And his first thing was, well, we got to give him more money. I said, no, you don't. No. Big mistake. You don't give more money to the black community. You got to give black people opportunity and the motivation to do better.
Right. The federal
because
government,
you just give somebody money, they're going to do exactly what any other human being would do. Just spend it.
The federal government has given for some 75 years money to so-called poor, i.e. black people. It's not helped the black family. Clearly, that's not the answer.
That's right. See, and this is why a lot of people on the left try to vilify. How do you say it? Is it villainize, vilify? They've tried to vilify guys like Booker T. Washington. Okay, the guy who said, "You'll pull yourself up by your own bootstraps." Okay.
Excellent. Look, that's good advice for anybody. Yeah,
but now they focus on, because it was a debate between him and WB Du Bois, or whatever his name is. Du Bois, right? And I guess he was more of a socialist, or he had more of a socialist angle. A lot of black people mention him more so than Booker T. Washington. And there's this movie that I saw. A movie about Madam C.J. Walker, the first rich black female in America. And in the movie, she meets both W.B. Du Bois, and she also meets Booker T. Washington. In that movie, they made Booker T. Washington a villain. They made him evil, made him a bad guy. It's like, wow, that's amazing. Yeah,
because they don't want young black men to look up to a conservative so-called black person.
Exactly.
Despite the fact that, look, and again, I say this because, educated black people are not the same. They don't care about the average black person. Once they become educated, they don't want to be associated with uneducated people in general, but especially uneducated black people. So it's not like W.E. Du Bois would have had much sympathy with Jamal, the gangbanger in Chicago. But nevertheless, it is pretty twisted. They don't want black people emulating successful, educated, highly advanced men like Booker T. Washington. He invented so many things. It's a trying shame. Can you imagine if a black man says he wants to be like Elon Musk? I wonder what they're going to do. Are they going to go after him for saying, I want to be like the most successful African-American man ever?
Right.
In fact, honestly, I'm surprised there are not more black people saying, be like Elon Musk, study Elon Musk. The most successful African American to ever live.
Right. Yeah. Well, they won't never say that. But anyway, let's get back to the video. So again, we got this image here. It's clearly demonstrating a message here. White people, wash these illegal immigrants' feet, and in servitude, not for forgiveness, but in servitude. So you want to serve them. So it's okay. Let's put this message out here to promote illegal immigration even more. That's what this image is telling you. And if you're saying otherwise, then you're a fool. I mean, you just gotta be. I mean, everybody can see right through what's going on here. We can all see what the message here is in this image here. So let's hit the play button and go to the next image here. Okay. Okay, now here we are with looks like a Muslim couple, Muslim man. Well, I'm assuming they're Muslim because there's a female woman. She's got the what do you call it? The hijab.
She's got the hijab, and then you have the haram white woman who has no chaperone and no hijab. So there will not be alhamdulillah. This is a very look. If you understand how the religion of Islam works, this is a very good Muslim picture. If you understand how Western socio-demographics work, this is a very bad picture.
Why is it a very bad picture?
Because the Quran would love the idea of non-Muslims, of kafurs, being the slaves and servants for Muslims.
Yes. Yeah.
Come on, you should know that. You should know that.
That's true. That's true.
Pay your jizya, convert to Islam, be enslaved, or die.
Yes. So again, and we talked about commonalities in each of these images, right? What do we see? Who's washing the feet of a non-white person?
Yeah, the white person is washing the Muslim woman's foot. Now, again, I know people would cry racist. Well, you're uneducated about the subject of Islam. You don't know how Islam works. If they have the numbers and they have the dedication to their religion, that's ultimately what they want.
That's right.
I don't have to and will never scrub the feet of somebody by virtue of the fact that they're Arab. So what? I don't care.
Right.
I'm not scrubbing your feet because you're Arab.
Right. Exactly.
Just as much as I shouldn't expect an Arab to scrub my feet.
That's right.
Can you imagine if it was reversed? If the Arab had to scrub my feet, he'd be calling me a khmar and worse.
It's right. And the leftists would say, oh, how did this situation come up? Oh, yes, you must have threatened him, you racist. You must have threatened him in some way.
Well, that's hilarious because being a Muslim is not a race.
Exactly. Muslim is not a race. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of leftists make that mistake too. They try to say, yes, Muslim is an ethnicity. It's not an ethnicity. It's not a phenotype. No. It's not a race. It's an allegiance to the relation, to Islam.
Being Arabi is a race or an ethnicity. Being Muslim is transracial. Now,
anybody could be a Muslim.
I'm not arguing that the religion of Islam is not racist. It is very racist. But the religion officially declares that you don't have to necessarily be Arab in order to be a Muslim. In fact, everyone, according to the Quran, was born a Muslim. They just don't know it.
Right. I remember Ben Affleck being on somebody's show talking about what is a Muslim. And if I remember correctly, I can't remember if it was him saying what we're saying or if he was saying the opposite. Let me see if I can find that video. Let me see. Give me a second here. I'm going to stop sharing this for a sec.
Sure.
And let's see. All right, so we got a commercial here. You can't fast forward to this. Won't let me do it. Okay, let me turn the music down a bit. Okay, let me see if I can find it.
Take on Islam, millions watching.
Box office educated on this topic.
I'm asking,
or suggested.
If I criticize you're saying that Islamophobia
on this topic.
Okay, here we go.
So you could say, well, this is. I think
I'm actually well educated on this topic.
I'm asking you. So you're saying if I criticize you're saying that Islamophobia is not a real thing.
The trouble began on the set of Real Time with Bill Maher when author Sam Harris and host Mark.
You know what? Let me see if I can actually find the actual clip.
saying that Islamophobia is not a real thing. That if you're critical of something,
Well, it's not a real thing when we do it.
it's gross. It's racist.
It's not. It's but
How about the more than 1 billion people who aren't fanatical, who don't punish women, who just want to go to the store,
Wait a second.
eat sandwiches,
Wait a
drink
second.
5 times a day,
Right.
and don't do any of the things that you're saying all Muslims.
Wait a second.
Stereotype.
That's an ick.
Solution. What is your answer? To condemn Islam?
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
Sounds really low on my end. Maybe I can put my own volume as
We've
well.
invaded more
I am not from North
Carolina. And yet somehow we're exempted from these things because they're not really a reflection of what we believe in. We did by accident. That's why we invaded Iraq. And saying that Islamophobia is
Okay. All right. So that's I guess he was defending
this is-
Islam. So
Well, he's an Islam apologist, but he's a very ignorant. He's a foolish person. A billion Muslims are not every Muslim is radical. No, the Yahmar, but they all could be, and the ones who are not often end up supporting the radicals. It's inherent to the religion of Islam to be violent. They don't have conflict resolution skills. Their conflict resolution skills are either to tax, to subjugate, or to simply lop your head off. Now, that doesn't mean that individual Muslims per se are violent people, but it's part of the religion of Islam. It's in their history.
that's right. Again, I bring it up all the time. You have this thing called taqiyya, which is where a Muslim adherent could, an Islam adherent could lie about their allegiance to Muhammad or to Islam because they were in a foreign nation where they are outnumbered or they're the minority. Now, if that's the case, if such a doctrine actually exists in that religion, then that tells me, who's not a Muslim, that I can't trust this person at all, even if they are really nice. For all I know, they could be telling me that they're the more moderate Muslim and they don't believe in, what is, oh my gosh, it's at the tip of my tongue. Jihad. They don't believe in jihad or any of that stuff.
Right.
But for all I know, they could be lying to me and waiting for the perfect time with fattening us up for the kill. Welcome to the room, Scroll.
Thank you. Well, thinking about the moderate Muslim is, will they stay moderate when the extreme Muslims come and become the majority? Will they stay moderate and not do jihad, or will they join them?
Exactly.
Well, you see, the saving grace for America, though, I believe, is that we have a very apostate version of Islam. The trouble for the Muslim community, though, is that the largest population of Islamic people, or Muslims, period, by 2050 will be in these United States. They need those numbers. So they can't just dismiss that population of Muslims. What I think is going to happen is that America will start exporting this apostate Islam that likes civil rights and that believes in equality, which is completely incompatible with Islam. And that's probably going to corrupt it from within. But you're correct. Once they have in just enough people, maybe 15 to 25% that support the radicals, they start radicalizing. It's why, for example, you saw Ilhan Omar saying Somalia owns America. She's showing where her allegiance lies.
Sorry, guys. I had to step away for a second. My daughter should have been in bed 3 hours ago. She's waking up. Anyway, sorry about that.
God forbid you be a loving father and defy the statistics in the black family for Christ. God forbid you do that.
That's right. I know. Hey, got it. Because I am being a responsible father, we got to cue the stinger. Got to cue the stinger.
You know who talk about me the most on the internet? Niggas. Niggas. You know what's worse than a nigga? 2 of them.
Okay, all right. Just a little
funny.
Having a little fun there. Anyway, all right. So back to the image here. So we can clearly see white woman again washing the feet of another non-white person. Well, Some of these Arabs could pass for Caucasian, if you ask me. But in this image, they look Arab. So we'll just assume that they're Arab. So, but we get the idea. The idea is white people who are, and look at the guy in the back. The guy in the back's got a cap on. He's got a plaid shirt. Looks like he might be a truck driver. He comes home maybe a few times a week, and he not too kind for hanging out with these Muslim folk. But I've been saying some terrible things about these here people. They've been nothing but nice to me. So you know what? I'm gonna go wash their feet and ask them for forgiveness. Yeah, because maybe these people are right. Maybe white people are naturally inherently evil.
Well, and mind you, that just goes to show you they think if you're a blue collar working American, you're automatically racist. So if you're Jim Bob who owns, I don't know, Jim Bob's car wash on East and Main, you're racist. Or if you're Jim Bob that starts a lawn care company and winds up with a bunch of crews, you end up employing a bunch of people, often people who can't get other jobs like minorities with criminal records, but they do a good job with the lawn care, he's racist. Jim Bob, oh no, he's racist. And it's so amazing. He's automatically racist by virtue of just being a blue-collar American.
Oh, yeah. And see, and this stuff like this really gets me upset. It's because you have these people who just think they just arbitrarily control they try to control language and thought patterns and just by putting out these false narratives. Now we have this thing where actually it was kind of popular for a little while, maybe a year or two ago, where they're trying to express it to kids in school that being white, and if you're white, you're inherently racist. Even if you don't have a racist bone in your body, you are still racist just by virtue of the fact that you're white.
That's wild.
Yeah. And I swear, dude, I'm telling you right now, if I ever find out that my daughter's school is teaching that garbage, she's out of there. Because I'm not going to have her learn that. My own parts of my family even wonder whether or not my daughter has enough exposure to black people as it is. And I just roll my eyes when they ask me those kinds of questions. It's like, dude, do you really think that I don't want her to know, like, I hate myself? Is that why that's the real reason why you're asking me that question, right? You're asking me, well, is your daughter going to learn about black people? Well, why are you asking me that question? You asked me the question because you think that because I have a certain opinion on certain things politically and religiously, therefore I want to be white, or I disregard black.
It's the most ignorant statement ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I come from an extremely broken, dysfunctional maternal family. They're all a bunch of white trash from a certain area of the world, and very few of them were ever successful. It's just unfortunately a fact. They still think I hate the family because I don't want to participate in their dysfunctional activities. I don't hate them. I just don't want anything to do with the way they live their lives.
Exactly. So my daughter, who's actually half Asian and half black, she has friends of all colors. She's exposed to all kinds of people. Her baby, a normal daycare babysitter, is black. Okay, her godmother is white. She's in a school where is, ethnically diverse. There's mostly a lot of Hispanic kids though, but her best friend is Hispanic, Puerto Rican. And she gets along with black kids, white kids equally. And I love it. I love seeing her interact with them, because even when she's with these other kids of different ethnicities, I don't even see race, to be honest with you, unless somebody brings it up. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. Like, same thing with me and my wife. Sometimes I forget that my wife and I are completely different ethnicities. But then when the issue is brought up, I just that's when I'm reminded of it. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I wouldn't care, honestly, if my wife were not white. So what?
Right.
I don't care. There's some beautiful women that are not white. So what? I don't care about that.
Right. But, as a black man growing up in, New York State, a lot of liberals around here.
Oof. A lot.
This is what I've been accustomed to hearing back in the 80s and the 90s and stuff like that. And I just got fed up with it. I said, listen, I'm just tired of being around this privileged garbage, where we're supposed to act like we can talk this way or behave this way and just act like there's no repercussions for the things that we say or the things that we do. Because if we do what we want to do or say what we want to say and somebody has a problem with it, we'll just lift up the race card and say, you better not bring me any correction that's biblical. Otherwise, I'm going to accuse you of being a racist. See, that's the attitude that I used to see in my day, in my neighborhood, when I was a kid. And I just got sick of it, and that's why I kind of slowly got away from the, that type of environment and started hanging around, people of different backgrounds, including other black people who didn't act like their stereotype, didn't fit the stereotype,
Would you say that homogeny or excessive homogeny is part of the problem within the black family?
Good question. I'm almost going to say, yeah, I want to say that's a possibility. Yeah. Because I think there's benefits to, learning other things from other cultures. Obviously, from a Christian standpoint, you don't want to learn any paganism from anything, but, there's some positive things I think you can find in other cultures and other, environments and stuff like that. And as a Christian, obviously you want to spit out the meat, chew up the meat, spit out the bones type of thing so that you don't violate your conscience or violate God's commands. But as far as, politically speaking, I think I kind of look at it the same way as when you're about to debate somebody. When you're in a debate, you want to properly represent your opposition. Make sure that you steel man their arguments, you steel man their position. And the only way you can do that is to study what it is that they believe. Study what they, why they believe, why they have the position that they hold. And I think it's the same for people who are in a homogenous environment. Get out there and explore a little bit. Don't violate your own personal convictions, but, at least, try to get away from the status quo for a bit, because you never know, all that you've known all your life could actually be wrong. And somebody from outside of your community could have the right answer, but you would never know that because you're going to disregard them because they don't look like you or they don't talk like you. Like I often say, hey, when we're talking to Mormons or Jehovah's Witnesses, let's show a little bit of grace when we're approaching them, right? We know that what they believe is wrong, but let's just put ourselves in their shoes. Like they've been accustomed to this type of theology all their life. And here comes a Christian telling them that they're wrong. What's the first thing they're going to have? What's the first type of reaction they're going to have? They're going to have this knee-jerk reaction, say, hey, get out of my face. You're not coming to me, telling me, what I believe. Who are you? You, sir. I don't even know you. And you're going to come into my life, tell me that what I'm doing is wrong. What I'm doing, what I'm saying, what I believe is wrong. Who are you to tell me that? But if we come in there, we approach them with grace, with an opening ear, without backing down, without compromising the truth, I think there'll be more, that the message will be more palatable. And I think we, again, kind of going back to the homogenous issue, I think if people just step out of their comfort zone a little bit and try to, meet people of different backgrounds, different ethnicities, they can learn something. They can find something possibly very beautiful. And it'll open their eyes up a little bit, open their mind. So at least that's the way I look at it. And had it not been for me, because when I used to live in Brooklyn, I was surrounded by all kinds of people, Asian, Hispanics, Jamaicans, so I was exposed to all kinds of different cultures, and I loved it. I love how diverse it was. And it was that just got me into the state that I'm at now. Like, I just love being around people of different cultures and stuff like that. So, but of course, as Christian, again, as I've said it already 3 times, there is a boundary. I ain't going to take your paganism, your non-Christian theology into my mind and accept it, But, hey, looks like we got Dan Straight on the side chat and Michelle Cherry. What's going on? All right, so let's go back to the video here. We're almost through with this video. It's a very short video, but it's taken a while to go through each image. So again, we got another white person cleaning the foot of a non-white person in this image. Again, this is for those of you just not coming in, we're looking at the recent Super Bowl ad that was just shown this year, or last night's Super Bowl game. At least I believe. I didn't watch the game, but I was told that this was shown. And when I saw this image, I just had to talk about it. So anyway, let's go on to the next image. Okay, here we go. All right. And we probably won't stay on this one too long, but it looks like a bunch of people. I got you. Okay. I see what's happening here. All right. So we got a crowd of people. They look like they're shouting at each other. Okay, one side seems to be a bunch of dudes. The dudes on the left, they got some of them got megaphones. And on the right are women who are facing them. And then in between the groups that are clashing is a couple. Looks like a black dude with a fro, and he's washing the feet of a woman who looks like she could be Hispanic. Okay. She's light skinned, dark hair. Now, what is this image telling you?
Black man. I don't think that's a black man.
Oh, yeah, you never know these days, right? Yeah.
I think that's a black woman washing a Hispanic woman's feet.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Now, what do you think this image might be portraying? If you're a hardcore leftist trying to shove your propaganda down somebody's throat, and with this image, what would you, as a non-left leaning person, say that this image is trying to portray? I would say, yeah, go ahead.
No, go on, Beckham.
It looks to me like, all right, the black guy, one of the guys on the left side in one of the protests, he's holding up a sign that he's not holding it up, but he's holding a sign to his side that says censorship, and it has the don't symbol over it. Okay, and on the other side, there's a woman with a megaphone. She has a sign that says shut him up. So now let's think about this for a minute. The censorship side is, I would say, represents the right, because the right has been suffering censorship on the part of the lefties back before Elon Musk bought Twitter. We used to see a lot of that. A lot of the conservatives who are having their accounts banned or canceled, or some people call shadow banned. Shadow banning meaning that you're able to upload content and share it out there, but nobody will see it because the middleman, Twitter, is hindering other people from seeing your content. So that's shadow banned. So that's a form of censorship. And on the other side, you have shut him up, which is definitely something we see a lot coming from the leftists. They hear somebody preach truth and they immediately want to silence you. And if they can't silence you physically, they'll try to push a mantra that you're racist or homophobe or whatever. So that's the impression I'm getting with this image. So one side says, hey, we're against censorship. The other side says, no, you need to be censored. You need to shut up because you're touting some racist misogynistic garbage. Okay, and then we got these two in the middle, one washing the foot of the other. Now, Ryan says, that might be a woman. He might be right. But what's the image here saying? The image could be saying, hey, let's get along. Hey, I'm washing the foot of those who are trying to silence me. I forgive you. That's what it seems like here. But why can't the left wash the feet of the right? Why can't it be that? Of course, you see how biased this is, right?
I mean, it was hard for me to even understand what is going on here, to be honest with you. But the way you described it makes a lot of sense with the censorship and the shut them up. But the other pictures were pretty clear. This one isn't really making sense to me. So the silence hate sign was for the young Hispanic lady, and then for the young black, it's a black lady. I'm pretty sure. Said let him speak. So the young black lady is the conservative.
Yeah, we'll say
the other way around.
Well,
I don't even know.
He or she looks like they're on the side of those who are against censorship. So, see, and that's the other thing too. They put these images in there that are meant to be thought provoking, and you can walk away with any type of conclusion you want with some of these images. But I think the people who put these images together obviously had an agenda, had a point that they want to put out there.
Yeah, those other pictures were pretty clear in my opinion. It was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
You could see the bias. This one is thrown.
Yeah, this one's a little bit of a tough one. Yeah.
But I wonder if the young black lady is a conservative, if that's representing the this might be thinking too much into it, but the Blacksit movement with
could be.
I don't know.
It could be. I don't know. Can't touch on this one too much because we didn't really have that much to go on. But yeah, we tried. Let's go to the next images. All right, let's see what pops up next. Okay, so now we got, looks like some sort of lodge, wooden lodge. Got two guys sitting next to each other on a porch. Both of their feet are inside of a metal wash bowl or bucket, whatever you want to call it. And they're both elderly men. One's black, one's white. Neither one of them are washing one another's feet. So they both have their feet in the water. This is probably a good image here. I wouldn't say that this is woke, because we do want, especially Christians, we do promote racial unity. God did in the Old and the New Testament. Some people could try to argue, oh no, God was a racist in the Old Testament. He prohibited the Israelites from intermingling with people of different nationalities. Come on, man. You know better than that. I'm surprised that there are Christians out there who actually think that passage in Nehemiah was God being a racist, or God promoting what's called kinism, meaning that you stick with your own kind, basically.
Yes. I'm not too surprised, honestly. They're with all these wild beliefs nowadays. It doesn't surprise me too much. But yeah, I like this image a lot. It's a really good one. It's a good one.
Yeah.
It shows they're equal. I mean, that's
right.
the thought that comes to my head when I see this. It's good.
Right. See, this is probably the
really
best image. It is. And this is good. I mean, this is probably goes against the leftist agenda, where they're trying to make it seem like white people are just inherently evil. This goes against that. However, we could ask, since let's talk about the elephant in the room. One could assert that this is a gay couple.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. Because old people are gay too. But we don't know that yet.
Well,
see, that goes. Yeah,
who's the lady in the back?
Yeah, there's a lady in the back. You can see, like, through the window, you can see a lady who she appears to be in the kitchen. And we can't see what she's doing. She's leaning over something. But who is she? Is she related to the white man? Because she's white too, by the way, if you can't see. Or is she married to the black man? We don't know. Maybe the white man is the brother of the woman. We don't know. We don't have any idea what type of relations any of these people have to each other. But it's a good, heartwarming image of two old men sitting on a porch next to each other, both sharing what do you call those things?
The drink.
Those metal pans with the water in it. Yeah. Okay. But you've seen them before, so. Yeah. And then you got a little red dog next to one of the gentlemen, and I don't see any significance to that. So wash tub. Cherry J says wash tub. And by the way, I'm Cherry Michelle. I'm glad that you and Cherry are both responding in the side chat, because I was beginning to wonder if you guys were the same person. I never saw you guys speak at the same time. So thank you guys for clearing that up for me. So you are not the same person. Okay. Hound dog. That's the name of the dog. Okay. Thank you, Cherry J. All right. Let's go to the next image here. So nothing much to see that. Oh God. Now, let's stop here. There's we could talk about this a lot. There's a lot to talk about this. Now,
right after a good picture too, they throw this in.
That's right. Now, what do we got here? It's very obvious. I mean, come on. I mean, this is about as flamboyant as the most gay person as you could think of. Come on. Okay. Oh, hold on. Why did that pop up? Okay, let's get that off. Sorry about that, synergist. Anyway, so here we have an image of, again, hey, listen, if it walks like a duck, okay, we have a Catholic priest washing the feet of a gay man, a black gay man. And you can tell he's gay. I'm sorry. You could call me homophobe if you want. If it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck. This is obviously a dude whose body language seems extremely feminine.
Facts. Hard facts, yep.
And there's no way to deny it. No masculine man with a certain amount of testosterone sitting in his system is going to be in a pose like this. It's just not natural. Okay? And if you got a problem with me saying that, hey, the link is in the description. I mean, in the side chat. Please feel free to come in and I will argue with you till the cows come home. Yes, Cherry J said he's flaming. I mean, wow. I mean, it is super, super, super gay. I mean, it's about as, this how gay it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Super gay.
You are gay.
That's right.
Why are you gay?
Classic.
Yep. Absolute classic. So again, we got the Catholic priest washing the feet of this gay black man. And what is this telling you? Well, people of religion, particularly Christians, need to serve and forgive those who are practicing iniquity. Okay, we need to be accepting of this lifestyle. See, now we're not talking about individuals, we're talking about the lifestyle. Christians, we fight against the lifestyle and we try to bring the individual peace, meekness, gentleness, and of course, most importantly, the gospel. And we practice the meekness and the gentleness so that the gospel is more palatable, so that they're more ready to hear the message. Because even as a Calvinist, even though I know that God already has his elect, he already knows them that are his, he already knows who the reprobates are. That doesn't mean that I know who the elect are or I know who the reprobates are. So therefore, I still have both the obligation as well as the privilege to go out and minister unto the lost and to preach the gospel to every creature. So just because I'm preaching a gospel to a homosexual, that doesn't mean that that person that I'm talking to is a reprobate. They could end up being one of God's elect, but they just haven't been quickened by the Holy Spirit yet. And just because I don't know when or if that's going to happen, that doesn't mean that I don't preach the gospel. I don't minister unto them. Remember what Paul said in 1 Corinthians, 6:11? He gives you a list of people who will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. There is no way that these people are going to heaven. But he follows it up in verse 11 by saying, such were, past tense, some of you.
That's right.
So what is he saying? You used to be this, you used to be that, you used to do this, you used to do that. But now since you've been washed, by the Holy Spirit, this is what you once were. You used to do these things, but you're not those things anymore. And that's the attitude that we Christians ought to have when we're preaching the gospel to people, when we're ministering unto people. And I'm so tired of non-Calvinists talking about, well, if Calvinism is true, why do you preach the gospel? Yeah, how many times have you heard that? So
I don't even understand how that's an argument, honestly.
I know, right? It's not. It's actually really ignorant argument. Question, to be honest with, because we're talking about the sovereignty of God. Humans are fallible. We don't have all knowledge. We don't know who the elect are. All we have is by people's confession and people's lifestyle. That's it. So I'm not going to not preach the gospel to somebody just because they're a sinner or because I assume that there may never be a chance for them to get saved. Okay? And the Arminian, the semi-Pelagian, and the synergists alike need to understand that about the Calvinist view. We don't walk around saying, don't preach the gospel to this person because he's an atheist. He has no opportunity. He has no chance to get saved. Don't even bother talking to this person. God already has in mind who he's going to save. Well, yes, we already know God has in mind who he's going to save. But we don't know that. We don't know which individuals they are.
Yep.
And the synergist need to get their head out of the sand and really, take time to think hard about raising these kinds of ridiculous questions to the Calvinists.
Yeah, the argument seems to assume that the Calvinist position of determinism is that man are nothing more than robots and God doesn't use any means to reach them, that God just directly through some magical power controls their every move, action, and thought. Which, as far as I understand Calvinism, that is not their position. That's not the position of Calvinism.
Right. In fact, I often make fun of the synergists when they try to say, oh, God doesn't make us robots. But then I often follow it up by saying, I am a robot. I cannot sin because God has deliberately programmed me not to sin against him. Why is that a bad thing?
That's pretty epic. That's epic.
Yeah. Isn't that awesome?
That is.
Right? If you're a robot, if God has programmed you so that you cannot help but to do that which is in accordance to his will, why is that a problem? If you can't sin against God, why is that a problem? I mean, the only problem I can see is that it might make others jealous. That's the only problem I can see. Oh, you think you're so high and mighty because you've never sinned? No, I'm just programmed to not sin. That's all. I don't think I'm better than you. I'm just programmed. See, anyway, I don't want to get into that topic right now, but going back to this image here, I would say this is, if the leftists who put this image together is saying that Christianity and homosexuality work together, then they are speaking fraudulently, because everybody knows that the Bible speaks against homosexuality. We can see this in Leviticus, in Deuteronomy, and also Paul reiterated such in 1 Corinthians, I'm going to say 6. I might have the wrong chapter. Yeah. Okay. Where I just talked about, the effeminate, the murderer, the liar will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. Okay. And one of those Greek words is arsenokoitai, if I'm saying that right. I feel like I'm chopping it up. And it's basically saying men sleeping with men. So it's a compound word that you see found in the Septuagint. Okay. So it's men sleeping with men. It's not talking about effeminate men. It's talking about men sleeping with men. Okay. These type of people who justify this lifestyle, who practice this lifestyle. See, and again, notice that when Paul says that in that chapter, he's not talking about people who do these things, okay, maybe once in a blue moon and then have a spirit of conviction with them. He's talking about people who are this by nature. Like, this is what they are. This is what they do continuously, and they congratulate it. He's making a distinction between that type of person and the person who will inherit the kingdom of heaven. You will not go into heaven congratulating people who practice homosexuality. You will not. You may struggle with homosexual tendencies here on earth after your conversion. We believe that. Okay. But you're not going to congratulate it. You're not going to say, it's okay. Just keep doing what you're doing. God loves you just the way you are, which is, I'm sure in this image here, that priest probably said that prior to him washing his feet. But anyway, that's the image. That's the message that I'm getting from here. Since this is a leftist generated, and we can also talk about this another time, whether or not AI is leftist generating propaganda. I don't know. There's some debate about that a few months ago. We could talk about that another time. But definitely leftists put these images together. Christianity is definitely okay with homosexuality. That's what they're trying to say. Go ahead.
It almost seems like with a lot of these pictures, except for a couple of them, is you have the one who's washing the feet it's almost like these are like they're pictorially portraying the old traditional Christian conservative type of lifestyle mentality, and it's bowing to, humbling itself to the new wave, the new progressive LGBTQ, so on and so forth way of life and living. It's almost like there's showing a transition from the old way to the new way.
Right. Yep. As a matter of fact, you just reminded me, I think, was it Pope Francis, maybe a year or two ago? No. Just recently, actually. Commends same-sex marriage now.
Yeah, that's probably why they did this one specific, is because of his recent statement on that.
Right. So you Catholics, right? You're over here defending the Pope and Catholicism and all this other stuff. What do you say about your mans and them? What'd you say about your man, Pope Francis, congratulating homosexuality, saying that it's okay for same-sex marriages to take place? I wonder what they say about that. I'm curious. The next Catholic I bump into, I'm going to ask them. I'm going to see what they say about that. Now, obviously, there are a lot of Catholics that disagree with some of the decisions the popes have made in the past. Okay. But the ones that I know of, I haven't really talked to them about that stuff yet. So I'm just very curious to see what they say. But anyway, there's that image. We all know that Catholicism represents all of Christianity, right? That's what Hollywood does. Whenever they want to put a Christian in a movie, it's always represented by a Catholic priest, right? So the Catholic priest doesn't represent any specific denomination, like, Jehovah's Witnesses, the Mormons, and I'm not considering them Christian, by the way, but they do profess to be Christian. They don't put a regular Pentecostal, like, Presbyterians or anything of that sort, Baptists. No, Christianity is always represented in Hollywood by a Catholic priest. And they say that's all Christianity. That's Christianity. That's what they say. So,
I mean,
anyway,
there's a lot of Catholics and Jesuits that are in a lot of positions of power in politics and in Hollywood and in the news. On some of the Wikipedia websites, they'll have lists of Jesuit names that have been in politics or are politicians currently. So I'm not too surprised that the Catholics are seen as the quote unquote the Christian standard or denomination or whatever. But I mean, if you hold to a historicist type of interpretation of Revelation, that would fit into your type of interpretation, because they are, they have the seed of Antichrist. They are the beast system and all that. So
the whore of Babylon, yeah, right. The ecumenical movement. That's right. Yep. So this image makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways. So, and we can clearly see those of us who are of the mind of Christ, we can see what the devil's trying to do here as well. So here we go. Oh, so that's the end of the image. So they end the image that way, I guess. I guess that's convenient, because the image is talking about, it mentions Jesus. It says Jesus didn't teach hate. Yeah, definitely leftist. This is a leftist trope. They always pretend that they're speaking against hate. And then what else does it say? He washed feet. He gets us, all of us. Jesus. Okay. And so if you're interested, I wouldn't necessarily promote it, but I don't want to say anything negative about it either, because I haven't seen all the content on their channel, just this one video. But they do have a YouTube channel. He Gets Us. It's on YouTube. So whenever you get a chance, you can look through it yourself. I'll tell you one thing, that my first impression, based off of some of the images that I see, I get the impression that it is kind of progressive, kind of left leaning. And you know what? Why not? Let's just take a peek at it real quick. See what it is. Okay, so this is their channel. He Gets Us.
Is this ran by Free Gracers, or?
I have no idea who these people are. I'm thinking, it's funny you bring that up. I just realized what you just said. It's funny. Speaking of Free Grace, I think Praise I Am is actually currently doing a video against Calvinism again.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I remember the first time he went against Calvinism, and it was against Calvin's commentary on, I think it's 1 Corinthians 2 or something, and he had never read anything from Calvin. It was just this one quote, and he thought he understood it. It was pretty horrible, and I assume it's still the same thing.
Yeah, the majority of these people just have no idea what they're talking about. Some good photography, though. Some of these images here. Love your neighbor. So should we love our neighbor? Of course we should. Of course we should.
What do they mean by love, though? That's the question I would have.
See, you beat me to the punch. That's the question. In what way should we love our neighbor? Should we love them and say, does loving your neighbor mean that we're applauding their sinful deeds? Or is loving them teaching them the ways of Christ? telling them, hey, God loves, he said, God sent his only begotten son so that he can die for sinners. He is the propitiation for our sins.
Right.
And place your faith and trust in Jesus Christ.
What did he say to the woman at the well? He didn't just simply say, "Oh, I love you."
Right.
I believe
he followed up with the free. Oh, don't go there, Sola, because free graces ain't gonna like you. Because remember what Jesus said: stop sinning.
Yes, exactly.
Or something else worse will happen to you. Oh. Yeah. Free graces don't like that. The free graces don't like that kind of talk. The antinomians.
It's like we were all like them in that video before Christ raises from the dead. Those are dead people that Christ needs to raise and bring to life. So how we show them love is how you said we give them the gospel, and they believe and they turn and repent and leave their sins behind them. They become a new creature, new creation.
Yeah. Let me stop right here. This one right here, just kind of revisiting some of these images here, and then we're gonna look at John 13. This image here. Did you see this one yet?
Yeah, I was in and out when you were reviewing.
Okay.
This one.
Yeah, this one is terrible. This one is terrible. We can clearly see what they're doing here. This is probably the worst out of all of them. Okay, and again, it's a white woman washing the feet of somebody, washing somebody's feet. Now we can say on the good side, at least the one who's getting their feet washed is white herself, but we can see why the foot is being washed is because it's supposed to be, the white Christian woman seeking forgiveness or seeking to serve the abortionist. Terrible.
Yeah.
Michelle Cherry says, oh dear, that's a cult in the making. They would kill us Reformed believers during the tribulation. Have no fear. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to wrap things up by looking at John 13, the feet washing.
Yeah, I'm going to hop off because my sore throat is getting pretty bad. So it was good talking to you, brother.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for popping up.
Yeah, grace and peace.
You too. All right, let's see here. Okay, folks, I'm going to just wrap things up. But first, we're going to look at John 13. Do a little study here. If I could just find it. Okay, hold on 1 second. Having some technical issues here. Technical issues in the background here. Okay, I think we're only looking at 20 verses too. Let's see, we're getting a black screen? No, not getting anything. All right, let me stop sharing. Stop sharing. Okay, let's try this again. There we go. All right, let's blow this up a little bit. There we go. Okay, we got a big screen. All right, so we're only going to look at verses 1 through 20. Jesus washes the disciples' feet. Okay, and this is out of the King James. Hope you guys don't mind. Just go through this real quick. And this is very pertinent to the topic at hand. So verse 1 says, now before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour was come, that he should depart out of this world unto the Father, having loved his own which were in the world, he loved them unto the end. The supper being ended, the devil having now put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him. Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he was come from God, and went to God. Verse 4. He riseth from supper, and laid aside his garments, and took a towel, and girded himself. Verse 5. After that he poureth water into a basin, and began to wash the disciples' feet, and to wipe them with the towel wherewith he was girded. Verse 6. Then cometh he to Simon Peter, and Peter saith unto him, Lord, dost thou wash my feet? Verse 7. Jesus answered and said unto him, What I do thou knowest not now, but thou shalt know hereafter. Peter saith unto him, Thou shalt never wash my feet. Jesus answered him, If I wash thee not, thou hast no part with me. Simon Peter said unto him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my hand. Verse 10. Jesus saith unto him, He that is washed needeth not save to wash his feet, but is clean every whit. And you are clean, but not all. For he knew who should betray him. Therefore said he, You are not all clean. Verse 12. So after he had washed their feet and had taken his garments and was set down again, he said unto them, Know ye not what I have done to you? You call me Master and Lord, and you say, Well, for so I am, or so am I. If I then, your Lord and Master, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done unto you. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord, neither he that is sent greater than him that sent him. Let me repeat that. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord, neither is he that is sent greater than he that sent him. If you knew these things, happy are you if you do them. I speak not of you all. I know whom I have chosen, but the scripture may be fulfilled. All right. I think I am back. Let me know if you can hear me. Let's see. All right. So I'm using my other computer. Looks like the computer that I normally use just froze up on me. So give me a second here. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do a little commercial break. And because I don't want to end off on a note like that. So we're going to take a little short break. Give me a second here. Something is happening. What's happening? It's this blasted computer. That's what it is. You know what? Let's play a little bit of an old commercial here. Here we go. Hey guys, because I don't have a Patreon account or a donate button set up with any of my videos, sometimes I get some people asking me how they can financially contribute to the production of the 12 cartoon series.
Help me help you.
But to be honest, financially speaking, I'm at a point where I'm good to go. I got all the materials I need to make this cartoon happen in the fashion that I want.
Man, you gonna take this money. You gonna take this money. How you gonna renege? Take this money. I don't want it. Take it. I don't want it.
But if you still want to in some way, shape, or form make a contribution, well, why not make it worth your while and get something in return by going to my Teespring store and copping one of these cool looking items. We got t-shirts for men and women, different sizes, different cuts, different colors, different styles. We even got them in hoodies, tank tops, socks, mugs, stickers, and we also got the face mask if you don't want the Rona.
Give it to me.
So if you're a fan of the 12 biblical cartoon series seen exclusively here on YouTube, and you do feel led to give me some money,
I need you to give me some money. I need you to give me like $5, like $20.
Then head on over to the Teespring store and check it out.
Elvis is dead, Picasso is dead, Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin are dead, Marilyn Monroe is dead. However, Jesus is alive. Brando is dead.
Okay, I'm back. Let me just do the sound. Okay, looks good. Sounds good. Sounds like my sound is back. Excellent. Sorry about that. All right, I want to try to end this live stream on a good note. Let me just readjust my microphone here. Okay, so we're going to look at the issue of Jesus washing the feet of his disciples. And we had this rude interruption where the reading of scripture was interrupted by my computer freezing up on me. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to close some windows here. That's what happens when you get a cheap computer, folks. Anyway, so let's go to this real quick. So just knock this out of the park because it is late. So we're going to share John chapter 13. And this time we're going to read it out of the ESV. So I'm going to start from the beginning again. It says, "Now before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart out of this world to the Father, having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. During supper, when the devil had already put it into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going back to God, rose from supper. He laid aside his outer garments, and taking a towel, tied it around his waist. Then he poured it into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, 'Lord, do you wash my feet?' Verse 7, Jesus answered him, 'What I am doing, you do not understand now, but afterward you will understand.' Peter said to him, 'You shall never wash my feet.' Jesus answered him, 'If I do not wash you, you have no share with me.' Verse 9, Simon Peter said to him, 'Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head.' Jesus said to him, 'The one who has bathed does not need to wash, except for his feet, but is completely clean. You are clean, but not every one of you.' For he knew who was to betray him. That was why he said, 'Not all of you are clean.' Verse 12. When he had washed their feet and put on his outer garments and resumed his place, he said to them, 'Do you understand what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example that you also should do just as I have done to you. Truly, truly, I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. If you know these things, blessed are you if you do know them. I'm not speaking of all of you. I know whom I have chosen, but the scripture will be fulfilled. He who ate my bread has lifted his heel against me. I'm telling you this now before it takes place, that when it does take place, you may believe that I am he. Truly I say to you, whoever receives the one I send receives me, and whoever receives me receives the one who sent me." So much in this passage. So much in this passage. I mean, we see the divinity of Christ here. We see a display of humility. There's so much going on in this passage here that we're not going to be able to cover in tonight's stream because it's just too much to cover. However, we have to ask the question, okay, so why did Jesus wash these people's feet? Why did he wash their feet? Well, according to what we can see in the text here, it was an act of humility. Again, and he also says clearly in verse 15, "For I have given you an example that you should also do just as I have done to you." Okay, but he goes on to emphasize that if I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. See, so he's called their Lord and their teacher, yet he's washing their feet. What's the purpose? The purpose is to display humility and service. That when you're somebody's Lord and teacher, you are serving those that are subordinate to you. In what way? Well, they should be following your example, as we see Jesus mentioned in verse 15. What's your example? Your example is to love, to do that which God has commanded us to do. Now, of course, the free grace is going to hear me say this, and they're going to say, oh, so you're backloading salvation by works. You know, if you actually believe that, you're welcome to come in and have a discussion with me on that. I'm not afraid to talk to any free gracer, that's for sure. In fact, I vehemently oppose the free gracer's idea that you don't have to perform any works after salvation. Okay, and I'm going to leave it at that because I want to see how triggered they get when I say that. Because a lot of people, a lot of the free gracers, when they hear us say that good works are needed or that we are commanded to do good works, and we just leave it at that, we don't follow it up with anything else, they immediately assume that we are teaching salvation by works. So if they really care about us preaching some sort of heresy, whenever they hear us say it, then they will ask questions. And they would try to properly steel man the opposition's position. But some of these hyper grace antinomian individuals just won't do that because they're too afraid. So, you know, I mean, what do you expect from people who refuse to subject themselves to a church or to discipleship? You know, they get on YouTube and go to Praise's channel talking all this smack about, you know, free grace. You know, I don't have to repent of my sins. I don't have to ask God for an apology, blah, 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 blah. Because if you're asking God for an apology, you're performing works. I just look to who Christ is and what he's done. The scriptures don't say that. The scriptures definitely command us to strive toward holiness. And again, I'm going to leave it at that because I know that if that's all that they hear me say, then they're going to immediately jump to the conclusion that I'm promoting salvation by works. So if they really care, you know, they can holler at me. And if they make a video response to what I'm saying, I'm definitely going to respond to them. Okay. But anyway, what do we see happening in John 13? Jesus displayed an example for all the servants of God to be servants towards one another. He did this by washing the disciples' feet, which was considered during that time probably one of the most humble forms of courtesy. Why? Because touching another's feet was considered disgusting. Okay? I've heard one pastor say something along the lines of, you know, they kicking up dust and around dirt all the time in that area, that they were forced to take off their shoes and wash their feet when they entered somebody's home and stuff like that so that they won't bring the dirt in. Or something like that, something along those lines. And then touching their feet was considered really, really disgusting. But when Jesus, who was Lord and King and Master, unclothed himself, not fully, of course, just so that he can use his clean garment as a towel to clean the extremely dirty feet of all 12 of his disciples, not just one of them, all 12. Okay, that was a great example of humility on the part of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And he commanded that the disciples do the same for one another. And as far as application goes, can that be applied to us today? Yeah, well, sure, why not? I don't see anything wrong with Christians, you know, taking an opportunity to willfully wash another person's feet with this in mind, with this passage in mind, in honor of Christ, and also to display a level of humility and servitude to the person that you're washing, whose feet you're washing. I don't see a problem with that. But I do have a problem with the messaging of the video that we just looked at. That Super Bowl ad of different people's feet being washed. And it's usually a white person washing the feet of a black person, or an Arab, or an Asian, or a gay person. You know, or a white person washing the feet of a teenager who's about to get an abortion. Because that's clearly what we see in the image here. I'm going to turn the music off there. Yeah, so I don't know. I really don't have much to say. I just wanted to touch on this briefly because this was on my heart to talk about it. And also a lot of conservatives are talking about this as well. There are a lot of conservatives who would suggest that this image, this video, is an insult on the Christian faith. I'm curious to know what you guys believe. How do you guys feel personally about these images here? People of different backgrounds having their feet washed. There's certainly a lot of room for a long discussion, because on one side can say, well, you know, Christians should be washing. We should, in some way, shape, or form, act as servants of people outside who are lost, so that we can minister unto them, so that they can come to know Jesus Christ salvifically. I mean, that's what the word minister means. It means to serve. And that's what all professing Christians should be doing in some way, shape, or form. We don't all have the same gifts. I know. You're not telling me anything new. I know. I can hear it now. No, Vecca, we don't all supposed to do the same thing. I know that. I know. But you have your own gifts that are bestowed upon you by God himself, by the Holy Spirit, as we see in 1 Corinthians 12. Okay. That gift that God is giving you, you can use that to minister unto the lost, or to minister unto the brethren. Either way, whatever God has granted you, gifted you with, it's not going to be void. It's not going to come null and void. It's always going to be useful in some way, shape, or form. So that's what we're supposed to do. So is it okay to wash the feet of a homosexual? Is it okay to wash the feet of someone who's had an abortion? How about you, white person? Is it okay to wash the foot of a black man, or wash the foot of a Native American, or wash the foot of an Arab? Somebody who's non-white? What are your thoughts on that? Well, it all depends on the motive. Are you doing it in order to minister unto them so that they come to know Jesus Christ salvifically? Or are we doing it to say, hey, I like what you're doing. Keep it up. You don't have to come to Jesus. Just keep being a nice person. I would hope you would say the former, as a believer in Jesus Christ. But I am thankful that other conservatives and Christians are pointing this out and they're calling this out. So I want to thank everybody here for hanging around and listening to me talk about this for a couple hours. I just felt the need to do this since it was biblically oriented. So there's definitely some room to talk about that. So, but anyway, that will be it for today, folks. That will be it. So anyway, you guys, feel free to leave your comments on the side chat or in the comments below if you guys watching this after the live. And I don't know. We'll see. I plan on doing more of this in the future. But right now I'm trying to focus on getting this cartoon done. So again, in case you guys are wondering, I am still working on the project. I don't know when it's going to be done, but I will probably very, very shortly upload another random image from one of the scenes in the cartoon. That's all I can tell you. I'm not gonna upload an entire scene, but it will be one shot. And I'll probably leave some scriptural reference to it so that you guys could take a wild guess as to what part of the Bible is happening. But that's all I can tell you. That's all I am going to say. So anyway, with that said, I'm going to end it here. Thank you guys for listening. And as always, whether therefore you eat or drink, whatsoever you do all to the glory of God. That's 1 Corinthians 10:31. With that, I say, God bless. Take care.
Cookie. I like cookie.